maybe we can,
Hold
if you
on.
need,
Hold
okay.
on. It's saying sending data, and it's should be streaming now. It's saying it's streaming. So let me look at the YouTube channel. Let me just go back to my channel. Maybe it just got hung up. It says it's live on YouTube. We're on YouTube. We are officially live on YouTube. It's working.
Oh, great.
So, and just in the nick of time.
Is it a new link or it's the
No,
same?
no, no. It got hung up. The system got hung up. So, um, that's what happened. And anybody we have one watching. Thank God it's not more than that. As I figure out the technical difficulties. Um, okay, yeah. So John Tilden is tuned in. He's a subscriber to the magazine. He's commented. We see you. So we are good to go. It's working. I just want to make sure that I record this as well. So give me a second here. Record to the cloud. There we go. Okay. So we know he's a subscriber to the magazine. Yeah, I turned down the volume to the YouTube channel completely, so there wasn't any overlap.
All right, sounds good.
So we have officially we got two people who have tuned in. Uh, hey, David. Hey, John. So, do you have all the different things ready to show people, like like as you teased in your promo, the splattered vinyl and the
The color variants.
yeah.
Yeah, I've got a few things I can
How,
grab.
how's this look behind me?
And it looks good.
Look at that the three tier.
I love it.
So I just figured if I
We're tripling up Roxy.
well, there's three records inside. Why not? And I've got some pieces. I got a couple of things from Brian's service. That I just want to actually show people. The subscribers have seen them in the magazine, but I thought it might be a nice way to, since we're before Thanksgiving, and this is going to be a year. It's going to be everyone's first year without Brian. Especially his family. And I'm going to send Mike Love a message in a little while because he lost his brother in April,
Oh,
um, and Brian in June. So
yeah, that's a lot of loss.
yes, it is. Yeah. Okay. Well, are you ready? We just hope the numbers will grow. We are officially live on our channel, and I'm hoping that more and more folks will gather in here as we get ready. So, Carl, the way I wanted to get started was not many people know your story, and I know a little bit of it because you've shared it with me, but I would really like to know and have you share with the viewers how you came into first really discovering the Beach Boys music, and then what led you to creating your own record label, and then eventually pursuing the release of Live at the Roxy.
Well, for me, my Beach Boys journey, well, I guess there's a couple of ways to start it. One is I was brought home from the hospital in August of 1964 to just a few blocks away in Hawthorne. I lived in Hawthorne for my first couple of months of life within walking distance of the Wilson house.
Oh gosh.
And now the 105 freeway separates my old house from the monument that's currently there. But my what's so funny is I asked my parents about it years ago. Did you have any idea what was happening just a few blocks away in 1964? And they had absolutely no clue. They were not into the popular music of the day. But my personal journey really started when I was gifted the Endless Summer album for probably my 10th or 11th birthday. And that was my introduction to the Beach Boys. And I was a Beatles and Beach Boys fan from that moment on. And then, years passed along, and when I was in high school, my buddy Scott Ramsey and I started a DJ business, and it turned out to be a pretty good sized business. And we were doing literally hundreds of weddings and corporate events per year. But it wasn't really where my heart was. So I started a record company and moved on, uh, and started doing kind of reissues and compilations and best ofs in the early 90s. And then at some point, I realized if I wanted to work with new music artists, I needed to do something special and different. So I started doing these equity deals with artists where we would just share the profit. We're in it together. This isn't a evil record label and a reluctant artist. I wanted us to work together as a team. So I ended up being able to work with Robbie Krieger and Ray Manzarek of The Doors. I worked with Cyndi Lauper, later Smash Mouth, and some other bands. But along in that tide came an opportunity to work with Brian Wilson. And this was after the record had already been, after the Roxy show had already been recorded, and Melinda had released it. I think maybe just fan club direct. It wasn't in retail stores. So what I proposed is that my label would do a nice profit split deal with Brian and Brymel Records and get it out to retailers. And we would do in stores and live appearances. And at the time, I think it was Paul Simon, like Brian was going out with Paul Simon. So it was a good opportunity to have him visit record stores and radio stations and do interviews. But that's how things came around. We just happened to both be represented by Manat Phelps and Phillips, which is uh, a big music firm out in Los Angeles, and that's how the connection came together. So my journey started with birth, basically. Got turbo boosted with Endless Summer, and then just having the same legal representation led me to a meeting with Melinda and getting to work on Roxy in 2001.
Now, did you happen to be at that show back in 2000?
In 2000, I had a 2-year-old and a
Oh,
4-year-old, and so I was so busy. I was running the my label at the time.
mhm.
I was so busy in my own little world, I didn't venture out to a lot of live shows. So I knew it was happening, but I also knew it would be difficult to get in and get connected. So I didn't
Sure.
actually get into kind of the Wilson universe until after that deal was put together
Okay.
in early 2001. So if I could go back in time, man, that's one thing I would do differently. Just to be there to experience that would have really been something.
It was really special. I had when I did my unpacking of the sets and did that video, I got dates wrong. It was interesting because I wish I'd spent all of the 10 minutes more before I did that video because I had it in my mind. I had the dates backwards and everything. So Brian's show at the Roxy was April of 2000.
Yeah.
And then I saw him at Chastain doing Pet Sounds in its entirety in July of 2000. So I got that
Oh,
reversed,
I got
and
you. Yeah.
I thought the Pet Sounds thing was before then, and it wasn't. And I just was amazed that I went back and got all the information accurate and looked at it and went, oh my gosh. So I saw him in California in April doing that incredible kind of surreal show. It was a very surreal show. I
Yeah.
mean, when the guy Brian Wilson gets up and sings the Bare Naked Ladies, Brian Wilson, it's
Yeah.
very surreal. That was
Yes.
very surreal. And then, but the highlight of that whole period for me, the Roxy and Chastain, was Brian at the end getting up and putting on the bass guitar and doing Johnny Be Good and Fun, Fun, Fun. I mean, that was just, I didn't know how rare, I didn't know the rarity of what I was seeing, and that, within a few years he wouldn't be doing that anymore. I had, you didn't know, but it was, and he did it. He went back and did it a little bit more during the reunion tour in 2012. But his back was giving him a lot of problems at that time, so he
Yeah.
didn't do it much. But boy, was it cool to see Brian with a bass guitar jamming to Johnny Be Good. That was really special. And I'm assuming you didn't go to the Roxy show, but I would assume that to see him at some point.
Yeah, probably my most vivid memory was we were doing some press in New York, and he did a show at Jones Beach,
Okay.
and that was also with Paul Simon. I'm gonna guess that was July maybe of 2001, and so that's where I first met the band and got to kind of hang out backstage, and the first time I really kind of felt in that world. Because before that, it was paperwork and manufacturing and uh, conversations with Melinda and all that. But it wasn't really the live music part. So that Jones Beach in 2001, I'm guessing it was 2001. My memory is not so great. Uh, was sort of my first introduction and the first time that I really got to see Brian perform and realize that this is something really special because it's hard to tell just from the recording. There weren't any videos available at that time of the Roxy shows. So all I had to go on was the audio that they provided me. And it was hard to get a feeling for whether Brian was excited about this or reluctant or what. So it was my first opportunity to see those things for myself. And boy, what an amazing experience that whole New York trip was.
I'm still part of me is still trying to get over the fact that you worked with Ray Manzarek and, and Robbie Krieger. So that's quite something in itself. I'm this is so off topic, but Ray Manzarek, for my money, is perhaps the best rock keyboard player ever. I mean, for me, he's kind of foundationally why the Doors ever worked.
Yeah.
I mean, and Robbie, great songwriter. I mean, Jim, great deliverer. But I
Yeah.
mean, my God, when I listen to anything by the Doors, and I'm a major, I have all their albums. I don't really talk about them much, but I'm a major fan. So that must have been very cool. I would have been like,
Oh, I was, believe me. I got to see Ray and Robbie play a lot together in
oh, wow.
around that time frame, and most of the time I watched it from the side of the stage on Ray's side and
Oh my
watched him
gosh.
play keyboard. So yeah, we're a little off topic, but what they had no bass player. Not everyone realizes this in their live shows and the recordings
Uh-huh.
they had a bass player, but on their live shows, Ray with one hand was playing the bass parts and playing the lead parts with the other hand. And if I had a choice of where I could stand, I would stand behind him just to watch that show. It was
Oh no, man, I would have been right there with you. Wow, what an honor, right?
yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely was. I pinch myself when people say, I'll post something about Roxy and they go, "You are working with Brian? You knew him?" And so I do have to pinch myself when I think about the people that I've been able to meet, including some of our guests today, that
yeah, yeah.
these were names on records. These are people that I had heard about, and then getting to work with them sort of at arm's length, but still getting to work with them on the Roxy project.
I'm just gonna
Just,
do. I don't want to embarrass the fellas when they're on later, or we're gonna have Darian on. And by the way, folks, if you're tuning in and you've not seen the update, I went and did a quick post on Facebook. Darian Sahanajo will be joining us today.
that's
So
exciting news.
it is exciting news. So if you weren't aware of that, in addition to Carl and Mark Lynette and Probin Gregory and Paul Von Mertens, Darian will be joining us for a little bit. But I'm just going to go ahead and plug this real quick. This is another quick off topic. But this right here. All right, there you go. Two fans right here. So if you don't have this, what is the? It's what's the? I don't have the address right in front of me. Darn it. We should it's Wonderment. Folks, if you're watching this, then you're on the ESQ YouTube channel. When you're done watching the live Zoom, I do a quick 6-minute video of showing you all about this LP, and it just got released. And Darian kind of oversaw the whole thing. It's great packaging, but you just watch my 6-minute unpacking video that's on this channel, and I give you all the ordering information and how to order the LP. But please be sure to pick this up. This is their first record. their first record, and
And
see.
this is an expanded edition,
Yeah,
I think.
expanded edition with some extra cuts. Yeah, as the fourth side of the two LP set. But yeah, worth getting.
So,
Uh,
David, just real quick on the Wonder Mints, is
yeah,
this a limited? Because I know mine has a
it is. I
number.
think it's 1,000. I think it's
Okay.
limited edition ones. I think so because yours and my they're all numbered.
So let's encourage people to go there and get it quickly.
Yes, before that would, and if you're not going to get it yourself, put it on your Christmas list so
Yeah.
that it will come through. And again, it's right there on the ESQ YouTube channel where you are now. So it's an easy enough thing. And I think I posted the 6-minute video like a week ago. So real easy to find. So as we're about to get into the Brian Wilson Live at the Roxy releases,
Yeah.
and we're going to be doing some cool giveaways at the end. Thanks to you. Okay, we're one day before Thanksgiving, so I'm going to just really quick. For anybody watching this, Carl Caprioglio is one of the nicest guys you could possibly meet. Since I have touched base with him, he reached out to me for the Legends of Surf Guitar live show from the 90s because Mark Lynette connected us. And I had no idea the Brian Wilson thing was coming. And you put that in at the bottom of the ad
Yeah.
for the live at the site, and I went, wait a minute, what's this? And
You
you
got
have
a you
been
got a sneak peek.
so great, folks. The amount of goodies that he has sent to me for giveaways, plus today when we do the 5 giveaways, Carl himself is going to be mailing those. So we're going to be giving away three LP sets. Each one of those 3 LP sets will come with an 8x10 autographed Brian Wilson photo. And
Oh,
we're giving
I've got those somewhere. Or did
and
I
we're
send
giving
those? Did I send them to you already?
not the no you're holding on to the audit the yes. So those are going to go out with one of those each will go out with the 3 LP sets. The regular colored vinyl. He's not giving away indie label speckled vinyl, folks. That's a little too that's a little too. You're going to have to hunt those down yourself. And then we're giving away 2 CD sets with one of these. Brian Wilson, Walking Down the Path of Life with Love and Mercy CD singles. So each 2 CD set will have one of these with it. So all 5 of today's prize packages will have an autographed Brian Wilson item in it. And I mean, it's pretty special. And Carl, man, you've just knocked it out of the park with your
Oh,
kindness.
thanks.
I have to tell you, you're incredible. Every time I say, "Hey, can I have such and such?" Oh yeah, let me put it in the mail for you. So this
I
also, we're also going to give these away. Now this came out in originally 2001. So this is kind of for you completists out there who have to have everything. This is a decal. It breaks right there in the middle, and it's the song list of the original 2001 set. And that you see the artwork down here in the corner. But that's what this is. This is a sticker from the original 2001 set. Plus, we have these stickers. Plus, and you surprised me with this. I didn't even know these examples. This glittery looking sticker.
Well, that was a test, and that we decided not to make those. So we have probably, I don't know, 20 of those that we just uh
Okay, so complete us out there. You'll get everybody who gets the CD set. We will make sure you get these test stickers. These aren't even available anywhere else. These are test stickers. Oh man, now you've really
I've upped the ante on the prize
you have
packages.
really upped the ante. And I don't have one handy to show you, but we're also going to give out enamel pins, and we're also going to be doing another live Zoom soon. We don't have a date set, and we're still working on guests, so that'll be soon. It'll be in December at some point. But before we get further into the live at the Roxy, I just want to take a beat, and David Leaf will be sending me additional copies of this. Now, this is the program that they had at Brian's Memorial Luncheon. And this is my personal copy that I brought home. And David Leaf has some extras, and he's going to be sending them to my care. And we're going to be doing this will be a giveaway item in our upcoming live Zoom that'll be in December. This will not be a giveaway item, but I just wanted to share this with everybody watching. If you're a subscriber to ESQ, you've seen a photo of this. And I think depending on who you follow on social media, you may have even seen a photo of this in color posted. But this is the lovely, tasteful uh, booklet that they gave out at Brian's memorial service, and I'll just share it real quick. Um, there's the inside. There's the great photo of Brian. Yeah, and just kind of, the everything that occurred during the service, and then there's the great painting in the back that I had to use. What's his name? I want to give him absolute credit. I can't. His name's covered up in this, and I don't have it in front of me handy. But such a great painting. I used it for the fall edition of Endless Summer Quarterly, and it just the painting just spoke to me because there's all the stuff around Brian in the painting
Yeah,
that the
it is
artist
great.
just did a great job of capturing. It's such a great, and we have now sold out of the fall edition twice.
Wow.
So that was
Congratulations.
well,
That's good.
thanks. It's just it's the content, isn't it? It's the topic, it's the person, it's Brian Wilson, and I think that's why, for lack of a better way of putting it, that's why it's moving. I mean, it's Brian, and I think I hope everyone who ends up with that edition or any edition about Brian um, feels something. All the letters I've got in that are now in the winter edition suggest that everybody really felt that I paid proper tribute to Brian, and that's always the goal, is to pay proper tribute. Which I think, now let's get back on topic, and that's what I think you've done with Brian Wilson Live at the Roxy and this new packaging. Do you have it there handy so that you can lift it
I,
up? And
by
I'll just
by
point to it up
coincidence,
here, Steve.
I just happen to have one right here. By coincidence.
There it is. You did. I mean, this was such a when we were I think we were trading text messages at one point. You told me or maybe it was an email that I sent to you, but or maybe even on the phone. I don't know at this point. But one of the things that no, I think it was your reaction to my unpacking, that I really loved this new look. Just this whole look that Mark London put together for you. And you said something to the effect that you weren't sure what to do, and that there was many discussions leading up to the final design. And tell me about that process, and the decision to keep the original artwork as one of the LPs inside, and when it came to the 2 CD set, you left that original artwork too. How did that all unfold?
Well, going back to early 2025, Mark Lynette, who's coming on the Zoom with us in a little bit, he had reminded me that the 25th anniversary was coming up. We were working on a project called Legends of Surf Guitar that you mentioned earlier. And he said, you should really reach out. And I thought, I completely slipped my mind that it was the 25th. And so, okay, so rather than just reach out cold to Brian's management, I've had a long and productive relationship with Brian's manager, Gene Severs.
Mhm.
Just one of the loveliest people I've met in the entertainment business. So I didn't have any hesitation on reaching out to her, but I wanted to come in with something meaningful. So
Mm.
I put together a proposal for the 25th anniversary, and this was maybe February of 2025, earlier this year. And so I had no idea that Brian was not in great health, because it just wasn't public information. So I just pitched it like, hey, it's the 25th anniversary. I'd love to redo this, uh, and just celebrate the 25th anniversary. And so everything was in motion. Gene went to Brian and discussed it with him, and he was excited about it and wanted it to come out in 2025. And then, unfortunately, we lost Brian in June 11th of this year. So one of the things that motivated me to do more than what was in my original proposal. My original proposal was a gatefold package with Mark London's art up front, that was the original pitch. But after Brian's passing, it took on some new meaning to me and to all Brian fans. So I wanted to do something really special, something that when his kids received the package and opened it up and took a look at it, that it would feel special.
Hmm.
So I kind of reconfigured what I was thinking, and instead of the gatefold packaging, I decided to do a box set. And it doesn't contain any more music than the others, but it feels much more special than just a gatefold would have. So that's how the packaging came around. And thankfully, my request to use Mark London's art on the cover was granted by management because that was not the original cover. The original cover was the image of Brian and the audience. But I wanted to do something that would really pop, and Mark London's artwork really pops. It was, so good. And for those that don't know, that was the poster for the show, for the April 2000 shows at the Roxy, but it wasn't reused, as far as I know, in any other way after that. So for me, I wanted something that you could see across the record store. If Because
Hmm.
box
Hmm.
sets are generally kept on the wall, they're very rarely in the bins. They're kind of a
Yeah.
display piece. And so when I was doing my homework for the project and trying to figure out the, how best to honor Brian and at the same time have a really impactful cover, I noticed almost all the box sets were beige, brown, kind of black, muted tones that were hanging on the wall of my local Zia Records here in Las Vegas. And so I thought, I want something that's going to be different and really, really stand out. So when Mark London and I started having those conversations, what's it going to look like? And originally the street sign said live at the Roxy, or no, originally it said Brian Wilson.
Live on
And
Sunset Strip or something,
or
didn't it?
live on the sun. That's right. And
Yeah.
so we had to switch things up a little bit. And I wanted to know if he was comfortable making those changes, and he was. And we ended up with the cover that we've got, which checks all the boxes. I wanted it to be red, white, and blue because Brian is our Paul McCartney, is America's Paul McCartney.
Yes. Yeah.
And so the vinyl inside is red, white,
Oh
and
no,
blue.
Paul
Uh,
McCartney is London's Brian Wilson. Let's be
yes.
care. Let's
Yeah.
be.
So, or we could just say there are equivalents. But
There you
uh,
go.
so thankfully, Mark London is just so incredibly talented and was able to put this package together so it had a great feel to it, a great punch. And thankfully, Gene and Brian's management liked the concept and agreed to let me move forward with it. So that's how that came about. And, I'd always wanted to use that Mark London artwork in some way. So I used it on those stickers in 2001. I used it on some retail posters back in 2001. But it's really my honor to be able to use it on this packaging.
So I want to ask you a question, and I don't know that you'll know the answer, but I don't want to bog. Mark's going to be on in a little bit, like you said. I don't want to bog him down from the standpoint of why this or why that. So I'll just ask you really quick. There are some songs that aren't on here that were a part of the original show. How was the process of deciding what to leave off? Because that must have been a difficult decision.
Yeah, it actually it started in reverse of what you might imagine, where we're going to re-release this digital CD and LP.
Mhm.
And so Mark Lynette, there's two different Marks. There's Mark
Yes,
London,
Mark,
that's the
Mark
artwork
Sport.
Mark. Mark Lynette, who's the engineer and co-producer of the reissue. I wanted the digital to be only Roxy, the things that were recorded at
Right.
Roxy, as many tracks as we could. And then on the CD, there's so much more real estate, so much more room for tracks. And the vinyl had more room, but not a lot. So what we did is I said, I want to give the fans as much as we possibly can. Let's fill it up. So we filled up, that's as many minutes as we could fit on vinyl. and just about as many minutes as we could fit on CD. So the CD has the most tracks.
Hmm.
It's only because there was more space. And the vinyl has a couple of on-tour bonus tracks that were recorded later, not Roxy tracks, but recorded later. We're calling them on-tour bonus tracks.
Yeah.
But we filled those two up. And as far as the tracks that were recorded at Roxy, not all of them were uh, approved, let's say.
Okay.
And I didn't have a lot of say so at that level. Mark Lynette
Sure.
might know a bit more about that than me, but not all of them were up to the standard. So we wanted to make sure that we were delivering something that was both quality and as complete as we could be while balancing those two things.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. That makes sense. I've just, when it first was released, I saw some comments, about, oh, this song, and this song are missing, that type of thing, and I automatically assumed it was a question of did the live recording translate well enough, and that's one of the things that I think have just personally over the years have bogged the Beach Boys down a little bit because they're well known for being a great vocal group that I think the discernment that's in place when it gets to releasing anything live is probably the critique or the bar is probably higher than anybody else out there because it's a Beach Boy or the Beach Boys that, oh, this doesn't sound like that vocal
Yeah.
level that fans are expect. And I would just go back to Pet Sounds and say, hey, it's just like when Brian just decided to leave the chatter on in the background of the song
Yeah.
because he just thought it was cool. So I think they've been too hard on themselves, and I think the criteria is a little bit too stiff. But because that's kind of the charm, I don't really like listening to live releases. That's one of the last. I always tell people I'm not a live release guy. I like being there. And I was there, and this served as an incredible, and I know I would cherish it just as much. It's because it's part packaging. It's when you listen to it, it takes me back 25 years to having been there.
Yeah.
So it's really special for me as a memento. And the fact that you got this artwork, as I said in my video before, this is what made it the home run was
Yeah.
this look because of yeah, it's right there. There's the issue of the June 2000 issue of ESQ
Yeah.
where we did the same look, and I thought, okay, I've only waited 25 years for this, so it's great. I really do love it, and anyone watching, if I'm not going to tell anyone not to stream it. I'm not going to do that. If that's the easiest way for you to listen to it, go for it. But at the same time, I'm also going to tell you that I would, if you do, even if you don't have a turntable, get the 3 LP set because it's just the packaging is so cool. I mean, to your point, Carl, making something special for the kids.
Mm.
And I think in doing so, by having that mindset, you've made something special for the fans. And
Oh,
so,
well that's nice to hear. That was so important to me. It's way more important than profit. It's way more legacy and honoring Brian were my motivators for this project. And it was
mhm.
important that it come out in the 25th anniversary year. So uh, Mark London, Mark Lynette, Gene Severs, everybody involved in the project just worked round the clock sometimes to get this thing done. So it's very gratifying to hear you say that, David. It really is.
Well, and it's nice to know that I was aware of it. Brian approved it, right?
Yeah.
He approved of its release before he left us, and I think that's another thing. I feel very blessed and lucky that my heart's kind of full of gratitude because he we know that um, we know we're not going to hear anything new from him.
Yeah.
Um, so it's really a special memento. I have to help Mark here. Mark's having a little difficulty. I don't know why but he seems to be having so bear with me. Talk to the
All right.
folks.
All right. So, well,
Let
you
me let me give you something to talk about. So, okay, piggyback off what I was just saying,
yeah.
and remind people if you could, since you have the box set there, the 3LP, open that up and show them the poster and everything, so they know everything that comes inside. And they've probably seen product shots, but maybe this will.
So there's two different versions, and I get this question a lot, so I might as well answer it here on the ESQ. But there are two different versions of the box set, and we wanted to do something extra special with the vinyl to support independent retail. Independent retailers, it's a tough go. It's a tough business at this point. So the first version of the project has red, white, and blue vinyl. So they're solid colors. Back to the red, white, and blue theme. So disc one, red, disc two, white, disc three, blue. And inside the box, you get three full-size jackets. These are the same kind of LP jacket that you would get if you bought an individual album. They have the full spine, they're heavyweight cardboard. I also personally handpicked the kind of sleeve that I like on the inside. I wanted it to be black, so the rest of the package would pop. And then I also wanted the inner plastic liner to preserve the vinyl for people that are actually playing it and taking it in and out. And then Mark London's art is so cool. I wanted people to see what it originally looked like with the Brian on the Sunset Strip and the dates and everything in there. So we recreated this poster and included that in the box as well. So I just showed you the main version, the regular retail version that's available worldwide. But there's also a version that supports the indie retailers. Only indie retail has the splatter vinyl version. So all three have red, white, and blue splatter, all three of the LP discs. And you can only get those if you go to, it's primarily independent record stores, Record Store Day, record stores will have it. And maybe 10% of what was pressed is the marbled vinyl. So if you find one, they're not very common. They're still in stock at most independent record stores, but if you're a completist, a collector, you want to have both, that's the only place that you can get it is the independent retail. So how are we doing with Mark?
He's having difficulty. He's told me I've messed up real good.
Great.
uh, uh,
So anyway, so the CD is the same no matter where you get it. Primarily what you'll get from Amazon is the red, white, and blue. And then the marbled vinyl, you're going to have to venture out and either do mail order from an indie retailer or from actually walking into an independent record store to get that.
okay.
So, and Mark is our next guest, hopefully, once we get
Well,
the
maybe
sick.
he said he's tried it 5 times, and
Uh-oh.
I'm not I'm unsure how to send it to him any differently that it will work for him. Um, I don't really know enough about the what he I don't know what he's running on his end.
And so
Let
you
me,
sent him the Zoom link.
yeah,
We
yeah.
can edit all this out later, right?
No, well, it's happening right
I'm kidding.
now.
Are we
So
gonna fix it in post?
yes, this is what's called live. So let me see if this will do the trick here. I'm gonna try sending this to him. Okay,
So Mark,
folks.
so
Sorry.
Mark, his usual role in the Brian Wilson universe has been sort of the archivist and the authority on everything audio. But Mark Lynette did more on this project than he probably usually does to help me out. He was very instrumental in picking tracks. We bounced a lot of artwork ideas between Mark London, Mark Lynette, and I. to come up with what you finally see. There were very heated debates about some of the photos and where they should be and how the track listing should be displayed. I was on a family vacation in London for most of the intense packaging conversation, so it all happened in the middle of the night for me. But without Mark Lynette's help in the overall production of the reissue, it would not be as great. Uh, it would not be as great as it is now.
Hey, bear with me, folks. I am trying to get Mark in here. I don't know why it's being, well, I'm not sure what we're running into, but just try this too. See if this does the trick. Hopefully it will.
So while you're doing that, I'll show some of the other
Yes,
fun
please.
stuff I have to
Yeah,
kill a little bit of time. Yeah,
yeah.
there is some exclusive Brian Wilson live at the Roxy merch. This black shirt that I'm wearing. We've also got this ringer tee, which is super cool. Same logo. What I've been wearing for the last few days because it's been cold here in Vegas. It's a live at the Roxy hoodie, black hoodie, which is pretty cool. And then we have a beach bundle available in Brian's store that includes this canvas tote bag, and you can also pick CD or LP with the beach bundle. All right, I'm getting a message from Mark, so let me see.
It's probably saying it's not working.
Yeah, so he just asked me to send it
Yeah, I did that. I sent it but
to
you
his
can please do
email.
it. Yeah, I did that. But if he wants you to send it, then that's about all. Oh, here's somebody by phone. Should be Mark. He's going to be here to scold me.
Well, none of us are great technical geniuses, so there he
No,
is.
no.
Hey, Mark.
Well, I can do it on my phone, but it's blocked out of my computer.
Oh,
Oh, this is right there
well,
because you canceled me at noon. It won't let me back in.
very finicky that way. So, Mark, I was just telling David that the project would not have been as great without your help, not only in the audio part, but we hotly debated many issues with Mark London about artwork and all that. And I think it was a combination of Mark London, Mark Lynette, and myself that got the package to where it is. And I'm really happy with it. So Mark took on a lot of extra work and some heavy lifting on this reissue project, and for that I am forever grateful.
Well, I appreciate that. Just trying to honor, do the best we can.
Yeah, that was a big part of what we were discussing in the last half hour is Brian's legacy and what this record means to Brian's legacy and his family and his kids. When they open up this record, what are they thinking? Is it an emotional experience for them, or I just wanted our part, the audio and the look and the feel of the project to be something that felt special and would make them feel good. So every decision was done with that in mind, with Brian's kids and next with Brian's fans in mind, considering that, how sensitive the situation is with Brian's recent passing.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, dealing with his music, is is the same and yet obviously different. And I find myself, working the same way or listening the same way I always did, and then finding, the back of my mind is like, oh, I think Brian will really enjoy this when it's done, and then of course realizing that,
Mhm.
that that's that's no longer a reality. That,
Yeah.
it's been sneaking up, of course, with everybody else. With Jeff and Nick, and well,
Yeah.
and not that Andy's part of this project, but uh, you know, the dearly departed.
Yeah. Well, part of preserving their legacy is us doing our jobs the best that we can,
Well,
with
yeah,
with,
I mean,
with
yeah,
them in mind. Yeah.
yeah, and to some degree, I mean, I've been doing that a long time.
Yes, you have.
I never met Dennis. Dennis was gone before I came on the scene, but I did work with Carl a little bit. So, and I went to his funeral as well. And so that's been a part of this for a long time in its own way.
Yeah. I did have dreams about handing Brian a copy of this record.
Oh, wow.
And before his passing, that was my thinking, I can't wait. I can't wait to be in the same room with him again, because it's been probably the last time was in the early 2000s, that I was physically in the same room with him. And so I had these thoughts that how great it's going to be to present this to him, and imagining what the look on his face would be. So, it's his passing is disappointing for so many reasons. My little dream of handing it to him personally is very tiny by comparison to all the importance of his life and the sadness of his passing. But that's all part of what motivated the record and made it what it is.
Well,
Yeah, it's largely been out of print. I mean, not unavailable, but never been out available for streaming, and uh, basically been an eBay
Yeah.
secondhand market uh, product for so long, and never on vinyl either. Of course, we were in the throes of the vinyl's dead movement at that point in time.
Yes. Yeah, it wasn't even a consideration. I thought about that in my meeting with Melinda, early on. We didn't even talk about vinyl at all. It was just, we may have talked about cassette, because this was
We
2000.
didn't do cassette. Oh, okay. I didn't remember
No,
that.
so my version, I didn't. There was a Brymel version, that came out, direct, that you worked on in 2000. Then I came along in 2001 and put a couple more bonus tracks on there with your help. And then it was released a couple other times in the UK and in Japan, I believe, with
Yeah, Japan.
slightly different track lists. But I don't think I've ever seen a cassette version. If there
That's
is,
fine. Yeah, I guess it was right
be-
in that CD only.
yeah.
Yeah, pre-streaming, post vinyl. I can't remember. The next project I guess was Pet Sounds Live, and I don't remember if that made it to vinyl or if that was still CD only.
Hmm.
I'm sure David would know. Um, yeah, so that
I
what's
smell
that? I was
another
busy.
opportunity.
I was busy over here in the chat, half paying it with what would I know?
oh that whether Pet Sounds Live came out on vinyl
No,
or no,
no,
it didn't. Oh
no.
well, that's good to know
Add
because
it to the list, Mark.
That's another project.
Yeah.
well, I mean there's a whole series of these.
Yeah.
The Brymel released records that haven't been in print or up for streaming,
Mhm.
or in that case vinyl. Where do we go from there? I mean, I know by
Well,
the time we got to Smile,
I just
yeah.
want to touch on something that you said, Carl, that I've already told you my truth earlier about the release, but since we have Mark on now, it's a good opportunity. You had said that you had this idea that you were going to be handing Brian this project, and I think if he had lived to hold it in his hands, he would have felt great satisfaction. I don't think that's going out on a limb. And because he knows, Mark London as well as he does, and he knows Mark Lynette as well as he does, and he trusts them with his work. That I just say it's a beautiful project. It's rare that you have something that's great packaging and wonderful to listen to, that it also serves as a cherished memento. Those things coming together doesn't always happen. I mean, if you really love a group or a recording artist of any kind, I suppose that could be applicable, whether they're on or not.
Yeah.
But this just has a really unique quality to it, um, in that respect of this of a Brian's not here, but this has a very living presence to it. Live at the Roxy has a very living presence to it. And you get to hear Brian's joy, which is the thing that I find most appealing when I listen to it. You get to hear a recording artist who's having a good time.
Yeah, and it was at the time in 2001 when I got involved, I knew it was a good record. It sounded great. I mean, Mark Linnett's work is, amazing on this record.
It is.
It's incredibly well recorded. It's incredibly well performed. I liked it just for what it was, just a great recording. But then
Yes.
as time went on and you realized that this Roxy show was more than that. As you said, it's a memento, but it's also a marker in time, uh, as I see it, that this was sort of the beginning of another phase. I've heard people in his band say that this is, Brian's rebirth or Brian part two.
Yep.
And I think I would have to agree with that. And there was even a review somewhere where they said that it was Brian reclaiming his Beach Boys material and reclaiming his, reliving some of his post Beach Boys solo stuff. And it really does feel like that now with distance. And whereas at the time it was just a good record, a fun project,
Mhm.
but now it seems like so much more.
It
Well,
does.
So
yeah, it was always a bit more than that because it really was Brian, the start of Brian's, well, the next 20 or
Emergent.
so years of Brian's solo career.
yeah,
And, and none, certainly anybody that knew his history would have been surprised that would have happened, since he was always so averse to touring, um,
yeah,
that he would do this is the first real example. There were some shows in '99 in Chicago, and I've heard them. I guess there was a video, maybe, David, but I saw an earlier tour, and Roxy is the first time when he really seems comfortable um, with the whole thing, and I think part of that is that the venue was
Intimate.
was it, yeah, amiable for that. Whereas
Yeah.
before, I mean, I saw him at the, I think it was the Wiltern or something, and it was a much bigger. And although he played there quite a few times later on, but I think it was too big for him early on to be able to connect with the audience the way he was doing at the Roxy shows.
One of the things I remember really liking, although it was very packed, because it's not a big place, it was very packed. Um, that also made it quite intimate. The Roxy has a really intimate energy to it, and you're that even if you're back in there's like for those who've never been in the Roxy, if you're in front of the stage, over to your far left is a little seating area behind a railing,
The
and
VIP section, yeah.
oh, okay, yeah. That's where Bette Midler was. And then there's standing room only. And then behind the standing room only, there's another, it's not VIP, but it's a little tables and chairs up behind.
Yeah.
Even if you're in either of those places, it's still close. It's still I mean, you could shout something out, and you hear that in the audience in the shows.
yeah, yeah.
Somebody could shout something out and you could hear it. And that's great too. The Brian interaction with the audience is great.
Well, yeah, you see it in the videos and the pictures. I mean, the standing audience is almost up to Brian's navel.
Yeah,
It's not a tall stage.
yeah, they're right there.
No,
Yeah,
they're right
yeah.
there. It was, and for me in my memories, in my mind's eye, that's what made it so special. I was telling Carl earlier how surreal it was when it really was. It really felt like Brian just coming out of his shell. Now, that's not to tell anyone that that's the first time Brian was happy during any given song or anything like that. I don't know if there's truth to that statement, But what I am saying was he was really on. You can hear it in these recordings. If you haven't heard it yet, uh, take the time to listen because you're going to hear the warmth of it. You're going to hear the joy of it. You're going to hear Brian being Brian in all the ways that you've maybe heard him described by others through the years, because that's all present on stage, and you really get to hear that. Mark, now you mentioned some earlier shows, and one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, what was the first Brian show you ever attended, and did you mix that show? Did you record it?
Um, oh, I think the first one I did was he was honored with some kind of writers, maybe a BMI award or
Okay.
something, in probably around 87, 88 when we were working on the first solo record. He did God Only Knows, and I've seen it online because I know we did some post work on it. Now you say see him, I mean that see him in the sense that I was sitting in a remote truck and
Yeah.
probably had a little black and
Oh,
white
that's a
TV.
good point. I didn't
Yeah.
even think about that.
Well, it's the same for this. I mean, my recollections of Roxy, besides a few recollections of being in the truck, I remember standing, not backstage, but in that hallway near the stage
Hmm.
and talking to Peter Buck. I don't really remember much else. Um, about being there, but I would sort of give you the same, well, a little less so. I'm sorry. I went to London to do Pet Sounds Live and to do the Smile premieres, and I have more memories about that because it was, a trip, and it was, I think 4 nights for Pet Sounds Live, and I think I was there for six. I think there were all 6 shows. Um, for Smile. So I've got more memory, and I have pictures of that too. So there's that. I did ask. I have no pictures from recording Roxy. Of course, this is before we all had cameras cameras on our
Cameras,
phones
yeah.
in our pocket. Yeah, and I did talk to I know the second engineer, the son of the owner of Les Mobile, and he thought maybe he had some pictures, but he looked and couldn't find anything. He probably remembers more about it than I
Well,
do.
while
But
we're
to
at,
answer your question, the
yeah.
first time I saw a Brian show, that boy, that's difficult because most of the time, if I was the, yeah, I mean, well, starting a little later in the 2000s, whenever he was playing in LA, I would go. Whether I mean, I wasn't almost, well, sometimes I was recording. Actually, to be honest, for a while, from about 2002 to 2008 or nine, if we weren't officially recording a show in LA, I had my own equipment, so I would go and record the shows whenever possible. I did 3 or 4 of the Carl Wilson benefit shows. Um, and the 2007 Pet Sounds tour in California. I did 4 or 5 of those. I know I did another show at the Wiltern. I just thought, that they should be preserved.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, to some degree, that's the most fun way for me to go to a show is to be able to capture it. I remember, how thrilling it was to be in the truck when we did the Smile
Oh.
premiere, just because of the whole gestalt behind that. And I guess it would, well, and actually the last 4 shows on that premiere week, I actually was in the audience because we didn't have the truck anymore. We were recording out at front of house. So
Okay. Now that must be a completely see that. And in my mind's eye, when I was asking you that question, I wasn't thinking a truck at all. I was thinking you at a board in the middle of the audience.
no, I did that a few times. I
Okay.
I, I occasionally would sub if the regular touring mixer wasn't available. I think the last time I did that, Brian played the LA Tennis Club, maybe it's called, out in Santa Monica 2011, maybe somewhere in there. And I did that, which was a lot of fun. I mean, I started as a touring mixer, but back in the 70s, where it was a lot of fun when I worked for Frank Zappa and ELO and a few other people, but it was a lot of fun when we were playing small venues, theaters. And but later I worked for Earth, Wind and Fire on a great big hockey
I've seen
rink.
them a couple of times. They're great.
Yeah, they were great, but it was a hockey rink tour, and it was just
Oh,
it
no.
was brutal. Yeah, I mean, literally, have you ever been to one of those shows where I don't know if they do this
Hockey
anymore. They
rink.
probably,
Oh,
yeah, they put plywood down over the
oh, okay.
ice.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So I can remember doing one of those. We were like in Rochester, in March in a hockey rink. I mean, it was
Bring your
but
skates.
but nowadays, because the equipment has gotten so much better, you really can get a hi-fi experience, and so it's a lot of fun. I mean, when it's under control and you're presenting it that way for an audio engineer, it really is a thrill. When it's not going that way, it's hell on earth. But I don't think that happens too much anymore.
Mark, what would you tell the viewers, that maybe Carl or I haven't touched on from the sound perspective, that what they'll get, there was only clearly 2 nights, only a handful of people really got to go to those shows.
Yeah.
Even if somebody had the earlier 2001 releases like myself, what would you tell somebody the value of having the 3 LP set and the 2 CD set would be?
Oh, the I see what I was going to ask what you were comparing it to.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean we've included just about everything. I mean, there were a few songs that were not available to use for this reissue. Um, and I mean, besides trying to preserve the sound quality, and just I'm always amazed when I go back and listen to this stuff. Brian's band was just always just so spot on, and so dedicated to playing it right. The revised package for the reissue, I think really does it justice, and not I mean, more pictures and the band, and frankly, a lot of people that needed to be acknowledged. In part, including people that came into Brian's life professionally and personally over the last 20 years, 25 years. I mean, I'm just struck going back to this. I mean, was it really that long? Over 25 years, 25 and a half, really, since we recorded it. It it doesn't seem that long somehow.
I
But
know, I
then,
know what you mean.
but then I've been doing this for some kind of audio work for 50 years, and that seems even crazier.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Mark, I want to thank you for your time, and I really am sorry that we ran into the technical glitch that we did, but
Zoom will do that to you.
really grateful to you. Thanks for coming on. Thank you for your hard work that went into these sets. Um, and I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yes, you too.
All right. Take
All right,
care.
you guys.
Thanks,
Take
Mark.
care. Bye
Thanks.
bye.
Okay. Well, that was great to have Mark. It was great to get his input on that. And we are having Probin Gregory is just about to join us now. And there he is.
Hey, Probin.
Hi. Whoops.
Okay. And hopefully,
Something else just came up.
I hear an
Yeah,
echo.
go on.
Here, I'll mute mine and see.
There we go. Oh, no.
Can we hear everyone? Is everyone
Wait,
audible?
we can hear each other. We just have a echo.
Ah,
And here comes Darian. What great timing. Look at this, is actually working now.
Yeah, it's
Can
incredible.
you believe it?
So while we're getting Darian hooked up, can I tell my Probin Gregory story?
Please, yes, go ahead. But
So the very
Robin, I
first,
think I'm
could it
not
be?
causing that echo.
Yeah, I'm trying to get rid
Well,
of it.
I'm not getting an echo on mine, so
Okay.
I'm
Is
sorry
that
that
you,
you
Carl?
I can put myself on mute and see if it goes away.
Okay.
All right, so I was on mute and it didn't go away. So
That's we'll just
we'll
forge
soldier on.
forward and
So Probin and I have a mutual friend in Linus of Hollywood, and Linus was doing a show. I remember Hotel Cafe. I don't remember where it was, but it was like a small venue, and it was just going to be a little acoustic set with Linus doing some material from his new record. And he had Probin come in and sit in on at least a couple of the tracks. And I was just blown away watching him play. It must have been trumpet and guitar. He would play a trumpet part and then start to strum the guitar while he's still holding the trumpet. And I'm like, who is this? What planet did this guy come from? So that was my first experience with Probin, and I could not I could not be happier that he was involved with Brian once I discovered all that. And like, oh my gosh, what an amazing talent Probin is, really.
By the way, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay,
It
great.
looks like Probin and David are muted. So maybe it's just you and me, Darian.
no, we're unmuted. What I did while you were speaking, Carl,
Yeah.
because of the echo, I muted Robin and myself to see whose mic it was.
Yeah.
And it's Robin's mic, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix that. I'm afraid.
I'm not sure either. Well, Darian, welcome. We were
Hello.
cut off with Mark Lynette. And while I think of it, because we're a day before Thanksgiving, I just want to thank here anymore. Well, Jeffrey Foskett, Nick Walusko, Robert Matthew. They were involved in this release. And so just thinking about them today. And also, Darian, Carl and I were talking this morning.
Yes.
I got mine.
Thank
I
you
wanted to
so
get-
much.
I
Thank you
wanted to
so
get the
much.
lowest number that I possibly could, but I got number 237.
He beat me by a few. I got 2 something, but yeah, he beat me by like 20. That was very cool. I love it, man. It's very cool.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. You know, Nick and I were talking about doing it 5 years ago for the 25th anniversary, and we even thought we were discussing maybe doing a few shows to promote it. But then he passed away, and I just didn't want to deal with it just didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
5 years later, and it's the 30th anniversary, and I'm talking to Mikey and Susan, Nick's wife Susan, and we just decided, yeah, it's too many people asking for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, Probin? Oh, good. You muted your mic.
No, I did that for him.
I was going to suggest.
Robin,
I'm not in control of the muting. That's David's thing.
Yeah, I was
Yes, you
doing
were
that
gonna
so we
say,
didn't
Darren,
have the echo.
Yeah, it's yeah. If Probin's mic could be muted while others are talking, then
Yeah. There.
So
And then I guess we'll bounce, and when I'll specifically ask a question. How's that? That way we won't have the echo. So it's great to thank you both for taking the time to come on and to talk about Brian Wilson live at the Roxy. This is a rare occasion for me because I was actually there. Typically, I'm just like anybody else. I buy something just to hear it and experience it. But to be able to experience it again was really special for me. And I really cherish it because it feels like a living memento. And I'd like to get both of your thoughts on that aspect of this and what you played so many shows with Brian over the years. What stands out to you both about those 2 nights? And when you listen back to it now, what type of memories come into play? Darian, you first.
Me first. It was kind of a world when we were just, we were not even, well, just over a year into being a band, playing with him. Maybe not even a year yet.
Oh my God.
And I just remember thinking, wow, what a year it's been. And we, considering that when we started off, we didn't even think it was going to go past a couple shows, let alone then being invited to go to Japan and then Neil Young invited us to play at his bridge school benefit, where I'm sure Probin you remember, but I mean, all of a sudden we're hanging out with Pete Townsend, and it was amazing. But I don't know. I guess the thing I remember most is that I'd been on that stage, that very stage, just a few years earlier with my own band, with Wonderments, and it was sort of surreal. It was like, wow, we had just been on this stage, and now we're packing whatever 13, 14, 15 people on stage, and it was real tight.
Yes.
And yeah, that's the memory. And also, of course, playing to a home crowd. Actually, a smaller venue was made me more nervous than playing in front of 15,000 people at Shoreline Amphitheater. This was more nerve-wracking because I'm looking out and there's people right in my face, and they're all familiar faces. They're friends and industry people, and it was just a home crowd thing. So
yeah, and well, one of the things that stands out to me even now, especially listening to this again, is Brian Wilson performing Brian Wilson, and
Yes.
the surreal, part of that to me to this day, when I just even saying that, even speaking that out loud, it seems like something had it not been recorded, I don't know that I would have believed I witnessed it.
Yeah, and who proposed that? Darian, I've heard that you made that arrangement that we hear on the record, but who came up with the idea to play that? And was Brian enthusiastic, or or not? Because it actually is a very kind of personal song.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty popular at the time, and I don't remember. It wasn't my idea to do it, but I'm gonna say maybe Melinda thought it might be an interesting thing to
It
do.
sounds like something Foskett might come up with.
I'm
not trying to credit him, but it just seems odd enough that he would.
Yeah. No, I don't remember him being the one. No.
Okay.
I feel like it came more from like some sort of relationship. Maybe we ran into the Bare Naked Ladies or one of the members on tour or something like that, and somebody, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh no,
I don't think it was any of the band members.
Okay, I'm just waving at Paul. Paul has joined us.
Oh,
hey, Paul.
Hey, you in the car? Are you on the go?
He's on the go.
Jeez, yeah. I thought I was the one that was busy. I thought I was the one trying to do that.
Well, Probin, same question. I'm going to unmute Probin. Go for it. Same question.
Okay, hold on there. Actually, my memories are not that strong of those particular two nights but I will say I think it might have been that this was the first time that we played. Is it true, you guys? Darian, Paul, do you remember? Is this the first time we played in Los Angeles? Was this April 2000 set of dates at Roxy? In which case that was sort of monumental for a lot of us. I mean, we'd been playing, we went to Japan, we went to the East Coast, did the Midwest, but I think the Roxy was the first time we played in our hometown, most of our hometowns.
I hadn't thought of that.
Sorry.
I think that's why Brian was so he was he was really on. I mean, of course, people were urging him to be on. Melinda or whoever were sort of saying, "Hey, here we are at the Roxy. Let's put on that smile and give him a good vocal.
Yeah.
Put on a good show."
Hmm. Could be.
Anyway,
Paul, do you remember if that was the first show in LA? I feels like
I think it was, yeah.
wow. Well, then that really makes a difference.
Probin,
Yeah,
man, good,
that's a good start.
memory. That's wild.
Wow, you might be right. I mean, somewhere I have a list of all the shows we did, and
right.
but
We had a very busy first year. I mean, going to Japan as in the first, only if after we'd only been on existing as a band for just a couple of months, that's pretty ballsy.
It's
yeah,
impressive.
I'm gonna look that up.
What else do I remember about it? I remember that Brian just seemed to be having a really good time, and I mean, we all had a really good time. I can remember looking out at the audience and being, as Darian said, it would have been almost better in terms of nerves if we'd played a larger place. But when it's intimate and so a lot of the people are your friends, you look out and see them, or industry people that we may not have even met yet, but were fans and came to support Brian.
Okay, I'm here to correct this fact. I mean, correct it as a non-fact. It seems that we played the Wiltern in October of the previous year
Okay.
of 1999.
Nice.
So
I
was it
remember
the
that one because that was where E of the Eels saw me, and he decided he was going to ask me to play with his band, which I did. I was able to make that work along with Brian for about a year or a year and a half. They called it Eels Orchestra 2000, and we mostly played in Europe. We think we only played one show in the United States at all, and we were in France and Germany and the UK on a bunch of TV shows, which was fun because I had to wear E wanted me to wear a Santa Claus costume on stage, which I had my grandfather's Santa Claus costume, and it was very hot. I was sweating in that thing every night. I was playing valve trombone, trumpet, little banjo, little guitar, little melodica. But that was, and then tiring of that, he made me wear a nun's habit. But even I only did a few shows with the nun's habit, and I said, I don't want to poke fun at Catholics, so I'm not going to do it anymore.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
Yeah, I actually heard early on when there was still talk about Probin actually being going on this Weird Al tour that we knew some of the people in management and stuff and behind the scenes. And one of the questions was that came to us, or just it wasn't even a question. It was sort of like thrown up there, like, yeah, but I think one of the requirements is that they're going to want Probin to have costume changes. Do you think he'd be into that? And Debbie and I were cracking up. You couldn't get a better person.
Oh, that's
How many
great.
costume changes do you have now, Probin?
I personally, I think have 7, but Weird
There you
Al
go.
has at least 10, if not a dozen.
Well,
nobody can see. Don't worry. So Paul, what do you remember? That's the question that I posed to Darian and Probin was, do you have a memory of any recollections of those 2 nights in April of 2000, and what would those be?
I remember we learned some new music for that show, and I felt like that we were beginning to gel as a band, and we were learning to communicate with each other and communicate with Brian. We learned a nice song that he had written for the Flintstones movie.
This Isn't Love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember the title, but I remember it was from the movie.
Yeah.
And so I had the feeling that we were starting to branch out, kind of expand in musical directions. So, but in particular, since we were preparing for a live recording, I remember that people started to get really focused in rehearsal and really pay attention to how we could bring these songs to life, and also how we could the process that was necessary to do music together. So that was my strongest recollection, was the growth of the band as far as communication and the willingness to come up with ideas and to share ideas, and also to listen to Brian and give him space
Wow.
to work. Yeah.
Wow, that is something. See, this is why I like to do interviews with other members of the band, because that makes total sense. When I think about it, that might be the first new music that we took on. We were always doing, older material, or the music that was we were promoting the Imagination record.
Yeah.
So there was nothing new, like Brian being creative, coming up with new ideas until that. So that's really, that's significant right there. I can't think of anything I can't think of anything before that where Brian was teaching us new songs. So that's a really, really great point that Paul made.
And that exists on video. That was one of the first videos that we cobbled together from the Roxy show. So that's on YouTube. This Isn't Love. And I played that song. If you looked at my Apple playlist and how many times I played whichever song from the Roxy record, far and away, that's the number one for me. And I'm not really even sure why. I loved it so much. It just captured my imagination, and I'm a little impulsive like that, so I played it on repeat a lot.
What I remember of that is a lot of it was on me. It was all like mainly piano, and we had to learn it fast. I mean, I don't know that we even rehearsed it much before the Roxy. It was just for that Roxy show, and Brian just like right on the spot showed it to me on piano, and then I had to kind of like repeat what he
That's
played.
amazing. That's amazing that you guys you're all so incredibly talented. I wonder, David, if I might throw in a question here. Like,
Please.
do you listen to those recordings, and is there something that's wrong that only you notice that nobody else seems to notice? Because
That's a great
I
question.
listen to it and I hear perfection. To me, it sounds exactly like it's supposed to. But I can imagine that the three of you listen differently. And there's probably something either in that piano or something that you go, "Ugh, I should have done that differently," or made a mistake. I'd be curious if when you guys listen to Roxy, if there's anything that jumps out at you that you would have done differently.
Who wants to go first?
Wow. Well, you could make me play it over and over again. I'm not going to screw it up.
That's a little joke we have in the band.
Inside joke. Band joke.
That's an interesting question, because many things that I've done I haven't been entirely happy with, and there are often those things where, gosh, I wish that was up louder in the mix or something like that. But when I think about all the stuff we did with Brian, I can think of a couple times where maybe on a live recording I boofed a note or something like that. But it's really hard. It all sounds good to me. When I go back to the very first gigs, I'm like, wow, we really sounded good. So, yeah.
I have to admit that I have not listened to. I have it here. I haven't put it on the player yet, so I don't know what I.
Oh, you naughty boy.
I mean, I know that First Time was the other new song that we did, and I
Yeah.
could barely even remember how that goes. Whereas This Isn't Love, I could actually probably play you and sing you my background part on that. I don't know why that stuck in my mind. Um, I will say one anecdote of something that I would go back and change just because it actually really bothered Brian when I didn't intend it to. Um, on one of the nights we were doing, I'm pretty sure the song was Do It Again. And when it came time for the guitar solo, I got down on the floor and I did sort of the maggot. I was sort of jackknifing around and was doing this thing. And Brian was sort of apparently staring down at me in horror. After the show, he came up to me and he said, "Probin, whatever you did during that solo, never do that again. I thought you were dying." And I was like, "Oh my
Oh.
God, I didn't realize it was going to have such a bad effect." So of course, I never did that again.
Yeah, to
Uh,
have somebody of Brian's caliber make a comment like that, it's got to be more personal than anybody
yeah,
else saying the exact same thing.
Well,
yeah.
I've got a question here from one of the viewers in the chat. Did you ever get a look from Brian? I guess that's kind of in tandem with what Probin was just saying. I hear it called the stink eye. Carl Wilson used to give the band the stink eye. Did you ever get the stink eye from Brian?
Well, I've got a really funny story uh, in that world, and it's one that we were doing an outdoor show probably in the summer. It was really hot. I want to say Atlanta or maybe the other guys. One of the guys helped me out. But we were playing. We were doing the Pet Sounds record, and we were starting Here Today. So that song that counted off, and he was supposed to come in right away, as you know the record, like 1, 2, 3, 4. It starts with just right, and I'm starting it on the organ. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Bump, bump, bump. There's no Brian. He's not coming in. I look over, and he's looking at me like, give me that look, just like staring at me. And I'm just going, uh-oh, what, am I playing the wrong chord? What's going on? I'm in the wrong key. And I'm looking at the band and everybody's looking around and he's still giving me that look. And finally, after a few seconds, he goes, whoa, 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 hold on, everybody, stop. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. I was staring at a bug and it was flying around my eye. I thought it was going to land right in my eye. That's what he said. So it wasn't really the stink eye towards me, but it was.
But it did start with just a glance.
Yeah, it started with that glance.
With just a little glance now.
Starts with
I
just a
thought
little
that was
glance.
in New Hampshire that it happened, one of the outdoor places, but I could be
Oh, it
wrong.
could
It
be.
might have been another
I couldn't remember
another
where
location.
it was. Can't remember where it was.
So
Wow.
Brian seems to have really had a unique sense of humor. And
Yeah.
I got to see it a little bit. I was only with you guys for a short time, Jones Beach in New York, and a couple of other like television appearances and stuff. I was at Conan and I don't remember what else. But I did get to see kind of the funnier side of Brian. But he did have an interesting sense of humor. Uh, Even when, Melinda was asking him to do something that he didn't want to do. Uh, all these little backstage things are stuck in my head, but I imagine being with Brian and Melinda for so many years, you probably have seen a lot of this Brian sense of humor.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
and that the fly story is awesome. It's just amazing that in that moment, that was the most dominating thing in his mind was this fly when
Well,
so
and,
much
and
else is going on.
well, and speaking of humor that comes out of a talk, a conversation between he and Melinda, and I know that Paul and Probin know what story I'm going to tell, but it happened very relatively recently. Is when the Love and Mercy movie came out. The song "Surfs Up" is heavily uh, featured in it, so we thought, oh, maybe we should bring that back into the set. But of course, it's a really, really, it's a challenging song to sing for anybody, let alone, Brian in his late 70s. um, a very lazy older Brian Wilson, by the way. So he would see the title come up on his teleprompter, and you could tell in that moment he's just trying to, figure out, oh boy, he's got to wrap his head around the fact that he's got to sing this song. So he just has to deal with it, in that moment, and he's in the spotlight in front of an audience, and and we're all sitting there going like, okay, what's he gonna say? What's he gonna say? How is he gonna get through this? And he's thinking, sure stuff. Oh my God, this is a song. Oh my God,
Yeah.
And so he says things like, I think the first thing he said was, "Well, ladies and gentlemen, this song, it's like a 3.5 minute song, but it feels like 2 weeks."
Oh no.
And then the next night he says something similar. The song comes up on his teleprompter, and he says, "This next song, it's like a whole month's experience whittled down into this 2 and 3.5." So you could tell he's just trying to, get through the moment. And so I want to say not the night after that, he said something like, "My mother taught me never to hate anything, but I really hate singing this song," and which, of course, it's funny, but of course, when Melinda got wind of that, she kind of gave him a talking to. She said, "Brian, you can't say that. There are people in the audience. Could be their favorite song of yours, and you just told them that you're not going to enjoy performing their favorite song." And so, what does Brian do? The next show, he comes up and he goes, "This next song, some of us on stage don't really like this."
That's so great.
So again, there's this he was some of us, like a child. It's hilarious.
I got a question here. Was there any song that you guys wanted to do but couldn't crack because it was too difficult? Did you ever run into that? I can't imagine you ran into that.
No, I don't think so.
Tangential to that, there was one song that we did for a little while, but it wasn't, for some reason, the vocals never quite sounded good enough. It was Warmth of the Sun, had a very short tenure in the band. Am I right, guys? Do you remember that we sort of had to retire it because it wasn't in the ballpark of the sound of the original recording? We just couldn't get. Does that ring a bell, or am I wrong?
Carol and say 6 minutes?
I'm.
You
I
ever
don't
remember?
know. I wouldn't say that was the reason. I would say that the bulk of that song being sung
You.
in falsetto was
Sure you do.
maybe not the
And
best
Carol?
song for Brian to sing lead on,
Because you've texted her
at the
before.
time. So we didn't really, because I mean, we performed that at his tribute, backing up Vince Gill, and it sounded fine, as a band. I think it had more to do with, how well Brian could sing it, on lead. Either that or that
That
we'd have
that
to give
that
it
that
to
makes
Jeff.
sense. Yeah.
Either that or we'd have to give it to, Jeff to sing lead on. And I think at the time, in those early days, we were trying to have Brian featured on as many leads as possible. But I don't know. I don't think there's anything that um, no, that was to answer that question. Not really. Not challenging.
Here's a good question. Here's another question for you guys, and I think I already know. This is from Jim Murphy, author of Becoming the Beach Boys. Did you guys all believe that Brian himself experienced joy performing live?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I can I answer, or do you guys have?
Yeah, please.
I mean, I actually think that for many years, Brian's not the most comfortable person on stage. Everyone knows that he's he's not a natural entertainer, but and so that always raised questions of, are we? Why is he up there? Is he being forced to be up there? And there were times where I maybe even felt that myself, like, oh, does he really want to be up there on stage with us, performing in front of an audience. But I swear there were almost every time that I would think that we would get up on stage and he'd be nervous before the show. He's backstage pacing around, like, I'm nervous, I'm nervous. And then he'd get up there and we'd start playing. And as soon as he heard the music and he felt the love coming from the people, from the audience, especially after songs and the big applause and the smiles, and there's just that vibe in the room. I think in those moments, that's when he felt joy, and I can see it. I can see it and feel it in his body language and his face, and that's what kept me going. It was, and to be honest, the reason why we had to finally call it, in the last couple of years, was that last tour was it was becoming very apparent that the joy was not there, and that was when we knew it was time, and he knew it was time.
And he was struggling to
Mhm.
do what he wanted to do. So I think that's something that made it difficult for him. But he also didn't want to go home because it was discussed, and he said no, no, no. He didn't want to stop. And I'll also point out that in my recollection, Brian never missed a show. He never missed a show.
No, it's true.
And I think that says a lot about his dedication to it and how much he wanted to be out there. So
Yeah, I think
I,
another thing again, tangential to that, in terms of seeing that the joy was not there. In most of the time out on tour, there would be a piano set up in Brian's dressing room, and he would almost always be, well, not almost always, he would very often be playing the piano. And in the last year or so of touring for him, first they set up the piano and they didn't play it, so they didn't even bother setting up the piano anymore. I mean, that was really a telling thing to me.
Hmm.
The piano was his great friend, his main conduit for songwriting, and he loved playing the piano. And to see him not spend time with his best friend, I mean, that was wow. Him not playing the piano, that was the end of the line as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, the physical and mental challenges were finally, too big of a hurdle for him.
We're getting very lovely reactions to everything you guys are saying. The chat over here is I mean, thank all three of you for being so open about this, and and sharing these thoughts, because what a great reaction we're getting from everybody. What George
That's
Faulkner
nice.
said, "Wow, he never missed a show." um, okay,
It's true.
if you could each pick a song that you never did perform with Brian, from his that you wish you could have performed with him, what would it be? Paul, you first.
Okay, well, I'll comment, and then I'm gonna have to say
Okay.
goodbye to everybody. But I'm glad I could check in for a little while. Uh, you know, I can't think of one. There was a long time that I wanted to do I Can Hear Music, and then we added it. So that was kind of the one song that was on my list. But otherwise, it's I'm full.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say goodbye now. Love to everybody.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you so
thank you.
much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Arrived at Carol Rarity's house. Carol,
So, Darian, what about you? I mean, I mean, I'm just going to add this real quick. One of my fan wants all these years was that you guys were going to do an album with Brian where you collaborated. I mean, that was just kind of in my mind all these years, because I love the Wonderments music so much, and I know how gifted all of you are. And I was just kind of one of those things that I kept kind of, oh, maybe that'll happen one day. So I was, that's kind of as a fan, I was kind of hoping that would, happen. I'm not disappointed it didn't because there's so much great music that came out, but it would have been really cool. So for you, what was there anything that you would have liked to have done with Brian that wasn't?
Yeah, it's actually very pertinent at this point. I would have loved to do any or as many songs off of the Beach Boys' "Love You" album as I possibly could, and it because it's one of my favorites, but it's also there were times over the years where I would mention songs or sing little bits of it to Brian backstage or in the dressing room or something, and he'd perk up. He clearly loved those songs. It had a really, really great. He had a fondness for it, obviously, even for those songs. And I, I'd been slowly, gradually lobbying for it, but it just his health started to deteriorate. It became more challenging. But I would have loved to have done any of those with him. I would have loved to have done Solar System or I mean, we did do "The Night Was So Young." That was one of the
Yeah,
songs we
that's
were
that's a
able to
gorgeous
do.
song, gorgeous recording. So what I want to use that answer to kind of do a quick aside here and kind of plug Al's tour because that's what people do get, right? You're doing a lot of the Love You catalog and some other deep cuts. So can you speak to that for just a minute?
Yeah, I mean, it was that record, "The Beach Boys Love You." I always think of it as the second most personal album after Pet Sounds for Brian Wilson. Um, and in many ways, it could even be the most personal because he actually wrote most of the lyrics on it. So it feels very, very much like his personality, and it's very close to the person that I knew. So when I hear those songs and I hear those lyrics, I smile, I laugh, I cry. It's the embodiment. Those songs are the embodiment of Brian's soul and personality. So I've been, and so when once Brian retired, Al was talking about bringing the band back out, and um, I don't know what happened. I think earlier this year I brought it up. I think it's because he was talking about this possible uh, archival release coming up, which is
Yeah.
going to be a box set again, uh, celebrating or commemorating the anniversary, 50th anniversary of this period of the Beach Boys, uh, like 76 through 78, or
Yeah.
all the stuff that they recorded mainly at the Brother Studios in Santa Monica. And of course, the Beach Boys "Love You" material is right in there, So one thing led to another, and Al was open to it, but he wasn't sure of how much of it we should do, and maybe he wasn't really. I mean, for Al, it was an album that came and went, and it wasn't
Mhm.
successful. So, in his mind, and I totally understand. It was just kind of it was one of those albums we tried, and it failed, and or wasn't very successful. So on to the next.
Yeah.
That's how it was in his memory. But he wasn't as involved with it,
Right. He
much
had
at
he
all.
had very little involvement.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
came in much like he did with Pet Sounds. Brian
Yeah.
had all the tracks ready, and he and Mike and they came in and sang their parts, and that was that. Not much in the creative process of it.
No. Mm-mm.
But so what's been really really nice is over the past 5 6 months, when we were originally discussing just doing a handful of songs, and uh, Al started to really dig into the record again. It was just sort of he was kind of reacquainting himself with that music that he hadn't listened to in 50 years, and I think it was almost a an epiphany to him. Like he was like, "Wow, this is Brian." And of course, in the wake of Brian's passing, it was even more profound for him. Just he can hear Brian's it's everything I just described. It's like Brian's soul, or it's just they're in all of his qualities are in those songs, and um, and of course the beauty of those melodies and chords, and slowly but surely Al was won over, and it went from, yeah, we'll just do 4 or 5 songs, like, no, we got to do this one, no, that one's so beautiful, let's add that one, and I'm like, let's do the whole record, but we can only do so much, and so with so little time and rehearsal. But there's been such an overwhelming response, uh, uh, positive response, that I think he's into, or he's up for. I think what we're doing 11 out of the 14 songs now.
Okay. Okay.
So why not add the last 3? Let's do it. So,
Well, I was glad to hear he's added his new single, "Islands in the Sun," to the set list.
Yeah, we started doing that too.
That's a cool song. I wish the documentary had ended with that song
Yeah.
instead of some other thing.
Yeah. I,
Just that Paradise Cove shot with that song, "Islands in the Sun," coming in would really have been "Send My Love, Send My Love." I mean, would that not have been? It would have been cool.
Yeah.
That would have been really right. Well, Darian, I know that you had a short window too. I just want to say to you guys, and I wanted to say this to Paul before he hopped off, but he hopped off so quickly. And I don't say this with any levity, or I say this with the utmost of sincerity. Thank you and Probin and all the other band members through the years for being such an integral part of Brian's success.
Mm-hmm.
Without you, with everything to do with his emergence, with him being comfortable, with him rediscovering himself as a live performer, I think it all went hand in hand with your devotion to his music.
Oh.
So thank you, truly.
Yeah, and obviously the Roxy record would not exist if it was not for you guys and your amazing skills. And I had never heard of the Wondermints before. Sorry, Darian. But after that moment, I started to dive in and I started to learn more. And I started to learn more about each of your projects. And, who isn't a Weird Al fan and excited to see Probin up there with Weird Al? How cool is that? So I've really become fans, and you guys are the most amazing musicians, and you earned a spot on that stage for a good reason.
Yeah, and it helped me go back and rewatch Austin Powers to see the guys wearing the wigs at the end. That's those guys? Wait a minute.
But thank you guys
Right,
very much
I
for
forgot,
your.
right there at the MTV Movie Awards, where we were in full makeup and wigs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll just say, what I always feel, and that is that I think the whole time that I've been playing with Brian, and I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of Probin and the rest, is that his music has done so much for me, that it's just the least. I always felt like, well, it's the least I can do is to try to, give back the joy that music gave to me and what Brian's given to me all my life. So,
Yes.
Absolutely, I agree 100% with that too.
Okay. Well, Probin, I hope that you can hang out a little bit longer. Darian, I know short window, but thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Darian.
Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving,
everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh man, so great. So Probin, I'm going to ask you a question, and then we're not going to talk, so we don't have that echo effect. But let me look over here to the chat for a minute.
Sure, and I also want to eventually get to my favorite song that I'd like to do, but go ahead and do the chat questions first if you want to.
Well, no, I'm just everybody's just agreeing with adulation you guys deserve. Yeah, they're all praising you, rightly so. So yeah, go ahead. And your song, the questions that we've asked that we for you to get
Right.
to.
I kind of wish Darian was still here to answer because he probably would remember. One of the first songs that came to mind, apart from Beach Boys Love You, which now is being done, even though I'm not there with Al doing the, I mean, I Bet He's Nice and I Want to Pick You Up would have been my two. We did do Night Was So Young off of Love You. But those two songs, but now they're being done. I Bet He's Nice and I Want to Pick You Up, which is great. I'm so happy for that. The one song that I thought maybe we actually, I think we rehearsed it, but maybe we never performed it, is Cool, Cool Water, because it has this middle section with all of the thing is, one of the reasons it's really hard for another group to do is that more than almost any other Beach Boys song, the soul of the band is in those wordless vocals, from Mike, and all that the vocal parts that go on in the middle of Cool Water before they get in the middle section.
Mhm.
That's really hard to do because that's not just something that you can cover in a cover band. You've got to like get into the heart and soul of Carl and Al and Mike and Brian to make those, and Bruce, to make those vocal sounds. Anyway, so but I think we might have actually played that once or twice that Darren would know. So that leaves me with a song that is in some ways like another song, like Surfer Girl. It's Girls on the Beach. Girls on the Beach has a really nice melody, and like I play in Beach Boy tribute bands. I freely admit it. We don't do that song. Partly because it sounds a little bit too much like Surfer Girl with the melody. And also it wasn't, I don't think it was a single.
Mm-mm.
So it didn't get that much traction. I mean, we the Brian Wilson band has done songs that I love, like Let Him Run Wild or She Knows Me Too Well, Little
Mhm.
Girl I Once Knew. Some of these, great middle period tracks, Kiss Me Baby. We did those, which is great. I'm glad we did. But there are, it's funny, as long as I played in the band, which was 23 years, we still hadn't played all the good songs that Brian wrote. This catalog is so huge.
Mhm.
Anyway, there. I've said it. Girls on the Beach. That's the one that we should have done that we
That's a
didn't.
good choice.
I I will say to Girls on the Beach, for any fan out there, the Girls on the Beach fan. Well, no, sorry, the echo's throwing me. Can you mute for a second? Well, I'll mute you. There you go. So the Girls on the Beach film from 1964 is as campy as they come, and isn't that great as a film? But the opening theme of the song "The Girls on the Beach" by the Beach Boys, and Brian Wilson down on the beach singing "Lonely Sea" is worth the price of admission. Those two things in that film, you could just fast forward through the whole thing. But watching Brian do Lonely Sea on the beach around a campfire is in and of itself. If you want to, God, I'm just getting goosebumps talking about it. If you want to see Brian's soul on full display, holy cow, right in the middle of this campy, crappy film, there's Brian all of a sudden on the beach singing this song that is just emoting, just like Darian was just talking about the Love You music. Lonely Sea has got Brian's soul etched in every note. And it's how they got him in the middle of this film about people trying to get to the Beatles. They have Brian Wilson on the beach singing Lonely Sea. Folks, look it up. Get it if you can. Get the movie if you can. Or maybe it's on Amazon or something. But just for that scene, I don't know how many people have seen it, but you can probably tell by the way I'm emphasizing that just the pure Brian in that 2+ minutes,
I,
incredible.
I remember that. Yes, I have seen that movie, and in fact, I'd forgotten that that was the title of the movie was Girls on the Beach. Um, and yeah, I that stuck out for sure. His performance of Lonely Sea, great.
Yeah, and Probin, to your point, that's the song Girls on the Beach." Just if you listen to that beginning, those vocals that are kind of interlocking with one another at the beginning, that are in minor chords, and Brian's falsetto is kind of swooping around them. It's just so intricate. And I don't know enough about music to tell you what's going on there, but I just know it's beautiful. It's breathtaking. It's just breathtaking.
Well, that seems to be something that we all have in common. In fact, all Brian Wilson fans, whether you're on the stage with him or out there watching him, is that the music is emotional. It touches you in a way that not all music does. And I've heard from various band members just chatting about the project that they would get goosebumps when certain parts of a song would start. And they're the ones performing it. You would think that it would become less special, but it seems like it didn't. And
Okay, I've got sorry, Carl. I've got a question for Probin. So Probin, I think you and I've talked about this maybe privately, but I sing in my church choir, and more oftentimes than not, I'm just locked into whatever the directors want me to do, is singing in the tenor section, paying attention, not, note for note, following along. And rarely, like 1% of the time, which I really cherish, I'm able to have that outer body experience. Well, even if I'm paying attention and singing and following along and doing what I'm supposed to be doing, that I become a part of what everybody's experiencing. Do you get that? Have you had the opportunity in those moments of joy where you're, even though you're focused on whether you're playing the trumpet or one of your many things that you do,
theremin.
able to kind of have that, be locked in, but also have that appreciative moment?
Yes, and I have had that happen. I wish that there was a way to pick and choose as opposed to they just come upon you all unawares when sometimes when you're not ready. Like one of the times I remember distinctly, we were in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on a Pet Sounds tour early on, and we started the song "Don't Talk, Put Your Head on My Shoulder." And for some reason, about the middle of the first verse, I burst into tears,
Oh,
not knowing that I was on the edge of, I didn't even have an, it wasn't like I was building up to it. It just sort of broke the, suddenly I was immersed and I was lost. I was
Wow.
weeping. I mean, I got through, I was able to finish the performance, but wow, that's of course happened other times too with certain songs. I got to say, when I was a kid, my entree to the Beach Boys was California Girls, 1965. I was 8 years old with one of those little, it's like a deck of cards, the little transistor radios that you
yeah,
Yeah.
parents
yeah.
used to hold up their ear, and came on the radio with that intro, and I stopped. It smote me. It was like God came through and into my spinal column and went down into the earth like a root. And I stood there transfixed, going, "Oh my God, what's happening to me? It's the music. It's this music is making me feel this way."
Yeah. How
So I
rare
mean,
and special.
yeah, and I would love to say that I had, more of those. Probably under 10 in my whole life have I had those moments where music just became me and I was part of the universal mystery of which music is one of the conduits.
And that's the perfect word. Conduit, perfect word. It is.
Yeah.
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 Huh. I feel like there was something I was going to say to a previous point that you were talking about on the chat, but
Oh,
now I
Brian,
can't
maybe
remember what it
Brian,
was.
being happy and joyful on stage. That was one of the questions that we had.
Well, I mean, Brian faced so many challenges, especially with the audio hallucinations, that he wasn't necessarily always in fear of them, but he never, even to the end of his days, as far as I could tell, he never quite conquered or got a handle on uh, dealing with those and being able to. I mean, obviously, he got through all those shows, and as we know, he was on various medications to keep him on an even keel, whatever those might be. They would probably got tweaked as the years went on. the chemical cocktail, but that was just to make sure that he was able to function and able to be there and make music and lead this great cottage industry that was the Brian Wilson Band. There's so many crew people and band people that were really reliant on him, and but mainly we wanted to support him. It wasn't so much it wasn't just a paycheck. We weren't out there just to, you know, be part of some team doing anything. We were out there because of Brian's music and the way that it all made us feel. And I'm maybe I'm speaking for myself, but that was certainly a large part of why I was there.
Hmm. Well, I remember in 2011, brought us. It was Chastain, another Chastain show. I've had so many good experiences at Chastain. But you brought us on, me and my friend Jez Graham, his wife Mindy, and Gretchen, and what's I'll think of her name in a minute. Their daughter Jenna, and we all came on stage, and you were showing her all the different instruments you played, and the little makeshift electrotheremin you had for good vibrations, and all that. And that was so sweet of you. I mean, one of the things that I'm just going to say, this is kind of a uniform statement. Everybody who's played in any band in the Beach Boys umbrella are really gifted musicians. And I think a lot of fans got to see that crossover and that merging in the 2012 reunion tour. But I just want to make that point because it's dedication to recreating the sound. It's not just playing through the motions. I mean, we've experienced that in decades past with Mike's group, where there were people who were on stage and you didn't get the sense of the recreation. And that was happening for a while, but then that changed. And it really changed and came into focus when Brian formed his band with you guys. Because it was clear that there was a sense of dedication to, especially when I used to watch Nick, it didn't matter what show, where it was, it did not matter. It didn't matter where I was sitting. If I wanted to be able to see Nick wherever I was sitting, because when it came to the song Pet Sounds, I wanted to watch him play. And what I loved the most about those moments, especially it was the Pet Sounds album, what I loved was getting to watch Brian during those two instrumentals on the Pet Sounds album and how he would just turn his chair and watch you guys. And I felt like those were the best moments of the show when we, along with Brian, were getting to soak it in. And that it made me even feel more connected to Brian in those moments.
That's interesting. Yes, we lived for those moments too when Brian would be appreciating us. Sometimes he'd spin his chair all the way around and just spend the whole song, "Let's Go Away for a While," something where he
Yeah.
didn't have to sing. And he'd just stare at us and look at us each doing whatever thing happened to hit his ear at that moment. He'd look at, you know, look at Nelson on percussion or Nick playing guitar or Paul doing some great flute part that that Brian had written. But yeah, those were wonderful. I mean, we were all there in the band to support Brian, and I agree about that with the Mike and Bruce Beach Boys around the time that the Brian Wilson band was formed. It did seem like I don't know, it wasn't that we offered up a challenge. It was just that we were doing things in a different manner than Mike and Bruce and their team. And that team, I think, took note and said, "Oh, I think we might have to." I won't use the word "step up my game" because, of course, they have a good band and they play
Yeah.
well. There's nothing with the Beach Boys, but they did elevate their performance. I think for many years after that, and
100.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it was noted. I noted it. I was like,
Yeah.
But, oh, I can go over, I can go see the fun show, or I can go see the art exhibit. And in both cases, the musicians care.
Yes. And one of the reasons that we care is that the songs are so good. They're so different than other people's songs. I mean, I remember when I first discovered Beach Boys Love You, it was actually rather late in the game. I think I discovered that and when uh, it was after college. It was in Los Angeles, might have been 82 or so. My friend Tim Horrigan said, "You've got to listen to this record." And I put it on and I was weirded out right away. I'm like, okay, this is definitely Brian, but it's like there's it's sort of an odd part of Brian and some raspy vocals being left in as the lead that sounded like they might have been just a rough scratch guide vocal. That's what they got. That's what they chose. They elected to release that version. But the more I listened, I got into it. And I said, "Oh, right. This is like a Brian solo record in some ways, but with,
Yes.
obviously input from the rest of the guys, especially vocally. Because there's not that many, for instance, there's not that much guitar in that record. Anyway, uh, I forget where I was going with this.
Oh, you're making me think of something. Mute for a second so I can get his thought. I just saw, I don't know where I saw it, but somebody has done an AI of Frank Sinatra doing Brian's Still I Dream of It. And it's quite good. The artwork doesn't look like Frank. It's somebody wearing a hat dressed like Frank Sinatra. So the AI screwed that part of it up. But, and I wish I could, it's on YouTube somewhere, but it's Frank Sinatra. It sounds like Frank Sinatra singing Still I Dream of It. And it's pretty cool.
Hmm.
You made me think of that, Probin, because you're talking about Love You, and every time I think about Love You, I automatically think about Adult Child. And if anyone hasn't heard that, don't worry. Early next year, hopefully, you'll be able to get a taste of that. But
Oh, good. I'm glad that's going to finally see the official light of day.
yeah, that's my yeah. I'm looking forward to it because it's the second time that Brian would have worked with Dick. And for those who don't know the connection, Brian first worked with Dick Reynolds on all the traditional Christmas songs on the Beach Boys 1964 Christmas album. So Dick would come back in the 70s and work with him, collaborate with Brian on a number of songs, just like 3 or 4 for the Adult Child record. And like Love You, they're worth the waiting in gold. If you like that oddity of it. Hearing Carl Wilson sing "Don't Sit Around on Your Ass Smoking Grass," that stuff went on a long time ago. To a Dick Reynolds arrangement,
Right. Just as an aside, one of my favorite tours that the Brian Wilson band ever did was the Christmas tour. Even though I will admit one sad fact, which is that the first couple of shows, Brian was really engaged and it was fine, and then he seemed to tire of it rather swiftly. I'm trying to remember what year that was, 2019 maybe or 18, somewhere around then.
It was around 2018.
Yeah. And it was a little too bad to see Brian lose his initial engagement to that. But naturally we don't have an orchestra and couldn't do any of the Dick Reynolds stuff. But we did as Paul von Mertens and I chose key lines in the orchestration and played them on French horn or tenor sax or clarinet or whatever Paul was playing. So we did our best to recreate that, and that's a fun record. And it really felt good to be playing those songs. I never would have dreamed when the band first got together that we'd be doing most, if not all, of the Beach Boys Christmas album.
Another one of those great tours. One of the tours I didn't see that I wish I had was where you guys played music from the Friends album.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to remember what year that was. A little bit before the Christmas one. 2015, 16, something like that.
I'm not
I
sure.
can't remember.
Wish I'd seen it.
Yeah, that could have gone on longer. I don't know what happened, why we didn't keep on doing that. Because again, in the same way that they're deep fans of Beach Boys Love You, they're people that think that Friends. Brian once said that Friends was his favorite Beach Boys album.
Yes,
Of
I've
course,
heard him say that
as
many
we
times.
know, sometimes you ask Brian something from day to day, and his answers would vary.
Well, yeah, it's funny because there'll be times when people will ask Brian, like, what's your favorite song from the 60s or whatever. He has said drive in a number of times. And people, no, that's not good enough. You can't tell people drive in. I mean,
Mhm.
but there must be something about that song that endeared to Brian that
Right.
he liked about it. Brian's humor, the way he implemented it into the Smile material, his humor, and then his humor in other tracks through the years.
Hmm.
Drive-in's one of those dynamic musical pieces that also has humor firmly inserted.
Right. Right. Yeah, even his sense of humor. I'm not saying that it changed from day to day, but sometimes he would exhibit his sense of humor, and other times you'd maybe throw him a bone to try to get a rise out of him, and there was nothing. He just let the bone lie there on the ground, unseen.
Yeah. Well, Probin, thank you for coming on and sharing some stories and anecdotes. Is there anything else that you can think of about the Live in the Roxy release that you'd like to kind of share with the fans?
Um, Not really. I was something did pop in my mind, but it's completely tangential. It had to do with the time that we saw at the same venue. I think it was even at a Carl Wilson benefit that they held there one of the years. Dick Dale came up, Dick Dale of the Deltones, who had been ill, but then had recovered and was back at his craft. Oh my gosh, you have never heard such a loud guitar amp. Everyone's hands were over their ears, even though earplugs were in the ears. It was so loud. Dick Dale, unbelievable. And Brian was there also. I think he might have even left because it was so loud. I know that some people had to quit the area near the front of the stage because it was just too much.
Yeah.
But I do remember seeing Brian at a table with Melinda at the um I maybe it was like between sound check and show, but that's like one of my engraved in my memory banks for some reason is a picture in my mind of Brian sitting at a table at the Roxy, the same place that we did those 2 nights in April. And I think I can't remember, it was Darian or Paul that had said that they weren't sure if the band had been together a year. I'm pretty sure our first show was in March of 1999. So the band would have been together essentially a year and a month when that album was recorded. And I'd forgotten that. That's right. The first new music we did was The First Time and This Isn't Love. Those are the first new Brian Wilson songs that he ever showed us. And it was, as Darian said, rather rapid that they came together. I think I was probably a little nervous at the show that I might not remember all the chords because we never used sheet music, or I never did, even with Smile, which was a lot of memorizing. You just, rehearsed it until you had it in the brain pan, and then hopefully when you pushed the green button, it would all be there the way that you put it in.
Well, just by coincidence, both of those songs, "This Isn't Love" and "The First Time," we had enough video footage to put together full-length videos and put those up on YouTube. So, just a little plug for YouTube. As long as you're here, those two videos exist in their entirety. Where not everything at the Roxy was shot beginning to end.
Great. If people were doing a search for that, they would put in "This Isn't Love" or "The First Time."
Yeah.
Brian
Yeah,
Wilson.
go to the Olio YouTube channel, right, Carl?
Yep.
Oh,
That's it.
okay.
And they'll be on there. Probin, thank
Okay.
you. Please give my love to Julia and Finn, and I hope you have a
I
great
will do.
Thanksgiving.
Yes. Thank you
Thanks, and
so
you
much,
guys too.
Probin.
Thanks for hosting.
My pleasure.
Bye bye now. Okay. I'm still here, but so how's everyone
the
doing?
awkward goodbye.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, we've stopped.
There we go. He'll figure out how to
Well,
log
what a treat to chat with Paul and Probin and Darian. Like, oh my gosh, so great.
That was fun, and I loved how they kind of piggybacked off of each other in memories. I
Yeah,
love that we got that little bit of history there about when their first show was,
yeah,
when the Roxy came in, where that was interesting, and finding about how they were taught, and that's what a great reason. We're getting ready to do the giveaway now, folks. So what a great tie-in, though, that not only is this live at the Roxy sets
yeah.
have this great band, a great memento, great sounding show, captured on 3 LPs or 2 CDs, or streaming if that's your thing.
Yeah.
But if you're streaming, good for you, but still buy these sets. Plug, plug, plug. But it's also the place where you can get This Isn't Love, and the first time, captured right after, within the same time frame of Brian teaching those songs to the band for the first time. So
Yeah, that's new
I feel like I'm
information
on
for me.
I feel like I'm on QVC.
Yeah, now how much would you pay?
Now, how much would you pay? Well, they're going to be free. We're going to give these away free, but we will tell people. Carl, go ahead and tell people if they're not going to be selected, because we're only doing 5 giveaways today, how they can find the package, because there's bundles as well, right? So
Yeah.
So please plug
So
away.
the absolute easiest way is just to go to brianwilson.com, and from there you can go to the store and you could see the beach bundles and the merch. There's the merch will not be available forever. I think we just printed up a certain amount just for the Roxy promotion, all these live at the Roxy shirts and hats and beach bags and all that kind of stuff. I don't think we're going to make any more. It's just what's available there. So if you're inclined, go for it. We will be giving some of the things away in our contest here. But by far the easiest way is just to go to brianwilson.com and follow the links to the Brian Wilson Roxy store.
The QVC show for the album is a run watch to, as somebody over here.
Well, but David, part of it is, we're big Brian fans. I know you are, and I am.
Yes. Yeah.
And we want more to be released. So if this record is successful, it's going to pave the way for more things in his catalog, either live or collaborations or things that people want to hear. So if it's successful, and streaming doesn't necessarily equal success. There's not a lot of money.
Right. Right.
Mostly buying the physical products that tell the management that, yeah, this people do want this, and this
That's
is
right.
something that we should keep digging into the archives and make other things happen. So
that's right. So show there's great interest in these releases, and there will be more to come.
yeah, that's exactly it. Concisely put, David. Thank you.
So Carl, if you could, I don't have it right in front of me, and I mean I have the 2 CD set, but it's such small print. Would you do me a favor and name the musicians who were in Brian's band during the Live at the Roxy?
Oh my gosh, I don't have my reading glasses.
Okay,
Let me see
so
if I
know
can.
I'm going to say Jeffrey Foskett,
Yes. Oh, what a
Nick
talent,
Lusko,
Jeffrey. Yeah.
Darian Sahanaja, Probin Gregory, Taylor Mills, Scott Bennett, Paul Von Mertens, Mike. No, was Jim Hines on drum, or was Mike D'Amico on drums for this show?
Let me see.
I want to say Jim.
Yeah.
Bob Lizick.
Yeah, let's see. Bob Lizick, you got Taylor, you got Darian, Nick, Jeffrey Foskett, Jim Probin, Michael.
Mike D'Amico.
Yep, and Scott Bennett.
Okay, so those are the musicians, and I just wanted to mention them by name because, again, whether they're touring with Al now, or I know there was some personnel changes over the years. I mean, Nelson Bragg came in, Jim Hines would leave at a point, and then Mike D'Amico became the designated drummer. So there was some shifting, but they all deserve full recognition for their contribution. So thank you for doing that. And again, I'm just going to say this earlier. I'm going to repeat it now. I greatly miss Jeffrey Foskett, Nick Walusko, and the photographer Robert Matthew, who is just a gem of a human being. So their contributions are in this package. And shout out to Mark London for the incredible design work. Shout out to Mark Lynette for coming on earlier and sharing some background. Darian, Probin, and Paul for coming on today with Mark, and you, Carl. But I'm gonna take a quick aside here. The Endless Summer Quarterly magazine wouldn't exist without the help of others. I suppose it would still get published, but it wouldn't be as. This is because we're a day before Thanksgiving. I got to give thanks. I have to express gratitude. So I want to thank Joe Natale, Keith DeVoe, Amanda Metzger, Lane Lannon, Ron Vaccaro, and of course my business partner Lee Dempsey for helping to make Endless Summer Quarterly the product that it is that you all enjoy. I'm kind of the public face of the publication, and granted I do the lion's share of the creative work that pulls it all together, but it's a true team effort, and I'm grateful to all the names I've just listed. And there are folks that I've worked with over a 30-year period that if I tried to include them all, I'd leave somebody out and feel bad. So I'm glad I mentioned those names. And again, my way of saying thank you to the team that we have in place, and just really, really grateful. So do you want to get the giveaway underway?
That sounds great. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm guessing that the chat is very excited for this moment as well.
Okay. Well, thank you for all the nice comments. We've had so many nice comments. Every time I look over at the chat, we're just getting all these lovely comments. So thank you, everybody who's tuned in today. Joe Thomas, Steve Dahl. Sure, absolutely. Thank you. Look, if I looked over here, somebody's put in all the different the names, positions, and not only their names, but what they did. Thank you.
Beach Boys channel. Yes,
Beach
thank
Boys
you.
channel. Thank you. I think that's Steve, my buddy, Steve Lewis. I think that's look at him go, man. He's just throwing it in there. Wow, this is it. That's all we had to do, Carl, was just look over. Had we known. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna go to the giveaway. The first giveaway that we're gonna do two of these in a row, 3 LP sets, and each one's gonna come with an autographed photo of Brian, and then we're gonna move on to 3 2 CD sets, and each one of the 3 2 CD sets. I know I've got it here. I covered it up. Yeah. Okay.
This is your certificate of authenticity.
Yes.
That I had. I was fortunate enough during the first release of Roxy to go to Brian's house and have him sign a few things that we could use to incentivize press and retailers to bring in the record. And when it was all over, there was just a few things left over. So these I found in a manila envelope in my garage. So I'm very happy that they're going to people who really care and will cherish them. And
yeah, I'm grateful to you. I said this at the beginning of the show. I'm going to say it again, and I'm not being sweet. I'm being honest. I suppose I'm being sweet. So you've been so great. So folks, thanks to Carl, we also going to be giving away 5 of these. These are collector's items automatically without the fact that it's autographed by Brian. So this is the Walking Down the Path of Life, Love and Mercy CD single that was released in what, 07? I think
probably 4.
Okay.
It was
2005. Well, no.
Yeah. Well, it was for Hurricane Katrina. So not only did Olio donate all of our proceeds and Brian all of Brian's proceeds, the CD manufacturer manufactured them for free. So everything that came in went to Hurricane Katrina relief. And so as a result, it was pressed one time, a limited amount were made and sent out there, and whatever's left in the world, there's not many.
No, there's not many. And we've got each of the 2 CD sets that we give away, we'll have one of these with it. So that's pretty special. Thank you, Carl. We're gonna and don't worry if you're not selected. We're doing another live Zoom, and we have a couple of more of these.
I'm a bit of a pack rat. I leave nothing behind. So
Well,
I
we're
did.
glad. We're glad because now we have these things. And then, of course, there's also this sticker, and then this one, which is a limited edition test sticker that you did, and you only did what, 20 of them or so?
I think, yeah, there's definitely less than 50, and we made them, but it was too, once we saw it in print and it arrived, we said,
Yeah.
it's too sparkly. We need to make it bigger. We need to make a white background. So then it evolved into the other
Okay.
art. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then of course these, which is the 2001 sticker card, I'll call it, because it's like a postcard. It's thick, but on the back, if you were, I wouldn't do this, but who knows? Depending on who you are and what you want to do with your stuff, it does open it to, in the middle here. There's a seam, and it is a sticker. So if you wanted to take it apart and stick it to something, you certainly could. And it's got all the information about the original release here on the back. So that's also a collectible piece because these aren't printed anymore. This is an auto print piece.
Yeah, that
So
was a marketing piece that we sent out to the retailers to it has our distributors information on it and all, like it's a little inside baseball, that postcard.
yeah. Okay, so here we go. I have got my pen ready, and I recognize, even though these are handles and not actual names in some cases, I do recognize a lot of people here. So how should we do this? Do you want to ask like a trivia question about the Roxy thing, or what should we do? We should have probably planned this part of it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you had some kind of a system because we definitely want it to be fair.
That's right. Okay, let me think real quick. Um, the first one's going to be easy. Okay, folks, I'm watching the thread here. Carl and I are going to choose our favorite answer to some questions here.
Uh-oh.
So, first question. These are all going to be live at the Roxy questions. What is your favorite song on Live at the Roxy? And again, maybe you have the 2001 version. Or no, let's make it a little bit more generic. If we're giving this away and people don't have it, or if they don't even have the 2001. So, what's your favorite Brian Wilson song and why? So let's see what we get here, and we'll have like a 2-minute per question thing here. So here we go. I am watching.
There's a little bit of a delay between us and the
Yeah.
chat refreshing.
Yep. So I think they're just, yeah, they just got it. They just got the question. This whole world, but you got to tell us why. You can't just tell us the song. Why not? Why not just raffle? Ferret or younger fans? Wait a minute. Wait. Fans of all ages know these songs, don't they? Don't Worry, Baby, The Sheer Emotion. Oh, I like it, from Jim Murphy becoming the Beach Boys author.
Yeah.
I like it. That's in Be My Baby because it's Brian's fave. Yeah, but he didn't write it. That's the thing. But it has to be a song that Brian wrote. The Little Girl I Once Knew starts off. Yeah, I like it.
Add some music to your day. I think he actually introduced that as the favorite song he'd ever written.
Oh, well, it's a favorite of mine, as you might imagine, having gotten the boys and their kids to re-record that. Off Sunflower, man. Sunflower is such a great record. Okay, my first country.
Somebody picked cigarette lighters.
I don't think I've ever heard that. Is that? Oh no, that's from the Roxy though. That's good.
Yeah.
That's okay. That might. Oh man, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know though. Can we let that? Can we choose that one? Is that I mean, it's right. It's on the Roxy.
It is a track.
Okay, I'm gonna go with that.
You're going with cigarette lighters?
Cigarette lighters is going to be our first one.
All right. Let's see. Who did cigarette lighters?
I think that's Beach Boys channel. I think that's my buddy Steve Lewis.
All right, Steve. Hey, congratulations.
And he is a subscriber to ESQ. I love it. Cigarette lighters. Okay, folks, just keep them going. Just keep them going. And
so I had a question. Somebody asked me why we separated cigarette lighters on this version of Roxy,
Mhm.
where it was just the intro to now I can't remember the song right after it, but it was not its own track on the original release, but it is its own track on this release. And my thinking it was just different this time because people make their own playlists. And if you made a music playlist, it might become annoying to hear that joke over and over again. So I wanted the music to be on its own track. So Mark Lynette and I separated that out. So if you were making a playlist of just songs, you could include it if you wanted, but you didn't have to have it on there. So that's why it gets its own track treatment on this version of Roxy, where it didn't before.
There's somebody here, Rockin' and House, and I'm not sure who that is. Maybe it's Kim. Is this possibly Kim Lang? I'm asking who they are because some of these, like George Faulkner, I can see who that is. But if they're using some sort of handle, I don't. Okay, all right, Philip Ellison. Let me check. I have to check. I just got the updated ESQ thing. See, that's the other thing is I don't keep the database, which I try to explain to people. And I have to, Carl, entertain the troops while I do this, please.
Right. So I'm trying to think if what else we might have done different on this version. Uh, Definitely the cigarette lighters thing was a subject of some debate whether or not we were gonna separate that out. But I liked those, and I didn't want to exclude them because it was part of the joy of Brian telling the jokes and telling stories before the songs.
Mhm.
So to me, we couldn't eliminate it. I did actually hear from a couple of people like, "Hey, why don't you just eliminate the banter? Like, the joke didn't really work that well." But I don't think that's the point. It wasn't designed to be a stand-up show where every joke needs to land. I think that was part of the fun and the magic of the moment.
Yeah. So I see Philip Ellison is on here and I see that he's added his name, but I don't have Philip. I don't have you in our subscription database. And these prizes that we're giving away today are specifically as advertised for people who are subscribers of Endless Summer Quarterly Magazine, the publication. Not subscribed to our YouTube channel, not subscribed to any social media, but actual, subscribers to the physical publication. So that is the caveat in this giveaway. Maybe we'll give the last CD, the 2 CD set away to a non-subscriber, but really the whole emphasis of this is to be tomorrow's Thanksgiving. We're trying to be thankful to our subscribers. So let me see here. Let's look at these answers. Love and Mercy. Okay, well, who is Mumble Thief? Oh, here I thought it was Steve Lewis. It's not. It's Stefano.
Do you know Stefano?
I do, but I have to check. Let me ask the question real quick here. That's funny. Okay. So basically, again, we have to be sure that you're a physic that you subscribe to the publication. So if you're on here and you're on this chat, but if you're not an actual subscriber to the publication, Endless Summer Quarterly Magazine, then unfortunately, that's the caveat. You're okay. I wish I'd only known about its current subscribers only. Well, subscribe right now.
Yeah, can they
If
retroactively?
anybody's on here, go over and subscribe right now. We're doing this right now. So if you go over and you take out a subscription right now, I'll see it. And then you're eligible. So you can do that. Okay, Mumble Thief. Who's Mumble Thief? Tell me who you are. Oh, Christopher Green. Okay, so Christopher, now I need you to answer the question. Now that we've got that part sorted out, Christopher Green is a current subscriber, but Chris, what would your answer be for your favorite song? We have Cigarette Lighter is the one in running right now, but let's see. So and again, what we're saying takes a like 20 seconds to get out there for everybody to see. I know Taylor is. So Taylor, retell me your answer. The responses and everything are going by so fast. If I'm looking away, looking at the database and coming back, I might miss something. So anyone who's a current subscriber to Endless Summer Quarterly, the publication, the physical magazine, please tell us again your favorite song written by Brian Wilson and why. Probably should have started with that, but we promoted it that way. So I thought that we'd be looking at. I know, again, I recognize. Okay, Stefano. Let me get this list pulled up. Okay, close that. Bear with me. Okay. Right here. Let me do this. Okay, we're gonna do this. Gonna go in here.
Wow, we've got people from all corners of the world. Somebody from Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
Scrolling through the chat, having a look.
Are you okay? Are you able to send overseas? Because I know that postage is up.
Well, the biggest problem actually is not really, I mean, the postage is expensive, but the biggest challenge is customs. That I think you had told me a story about how
Yes, I
things
sent.
have gone awry.
Yeah, I sent a guy a packet. I think it was Australia. I sent him a package. We paid for all the shipping, and it got to customs, and he had to pay an additional $40
Yeah,
just to get the package.
yeah, we've had a couple of things come back because of that. People have said, the duty is just too high.
So okay, I
So
have a.
yeah, international tends to be challenging.
Okay, let me see. I'm only bringing up one. Okay, let me ask here. Let me go back to this. It's multi-screen event. Okay, let me close that. Let me come back to the chat. Okay. Oh gosh, they're going fast. Carl, you're gonna have to take some notes because I'm just trying to hunt down people's names. These
Oh yeah, that's
are furious, and I hate to miss somebody's answer that we like and not have.
well,
So here,
do you want to take your time with it and do it offline and then notify people? That way, you can verify their subscriber status and spend a little more time on it.
well, yeah, I mean, I'd be happy spending more time on it, but I think if I stop the live thing, then the chat won't be active. The chat will stop, and then we won't be able to do that part of the process. And I wouldn't want to do that because this, as we advertised it, we'd be doing this. So I can verify. I got both documents pulled up. I can verify pretty quickly, bouncing back and forth now because I got everything pulled up. Okay, so I have to ask Stefano. He said Stefano, but I only have one, and that's in Spain, and his last name is Shalabritz. Stefan Shalabritz. Is that who that is? So I have to ask the question. H Voice channel. And then look at answers. If you see an answer that you like, just say something, and then we'll make that one of the giveaway responses.
All right, let's see.
I don't have him in this. I don't have Stefano in this. Let me try again. It's not popping in. So we have one person that Stefano. I don't have your name in the database. It's possible that your subscription may have just lapsed or something. The database was sent to me right before the Zoom started today, so I know it's updated. That could be the case. I know I do recognize your name, and I do feel that I know that you've been a subscriber before. But again, I don't want to cheat people who are current subscribers to give them that. And I've looked, and okay. So if it turns out that Stefano is an active member for some reason, and maybe his issue is lapsed, I will give him, because we liked his answer, I will give him a 2 CD set with an autographed Brian Wilson Walking Down the Path of Life CD. But because of his name currently not in the database that I just got today, right before we started the Zoom, we need to choose somebody else for the first LP. Okay, let's see. Again, these are, when I'm looking, I didn't see it. Okay, Mumble Thief, you have to tell me who you are again. Oh, Christopher Green. Hold tight. I'm sure that you're in here, but I don't know what your answer was because I wasn't looking.
Mumble Thief did Love and Mercy.
Okay. Why is it? Goodness gracious. There we go. Gotcha. Canada. Okay. So Christopher Green. Love and Mercy is a great pick. So he will get the first 3 LP set. Okay. And I'll get that to you because that's Christopher Green. And he's in Canada. That's not quite as bad in terms of running into custom issues, and they're not on strike anymore. So that's a good thing too.
That's a big plus.
Because I know they went through a series of strikes recently. Okay, so let's get back to this thing. So we don't. Okay. So then new subscribers, as you just said, would not be in your database. No. So to be clear, anyone, if you're gonna go subscribe right now, tell me in the chat, and that will make you eligible. I can log on to our account and see that, and you're eligible. But we don't really want to take too much more than another 20 minutes here to go through this process. So that's, as we advertise this show, the giveaways would be, if you watched my promotional video, you saw that we were giving these 5 giveaways away to subscribers of Endless Summer Quarterly, the publication. It's not, nowadays people get confused. Oh, I've subscribed to the YouTube channel, or I've subscribed to following you on Instagram. That's not the same thing. A subscriber to the physical publication. Okay, so Christopher Green's getting the first 3 LP set. So folks, we really kind of want to wrap this up within 10 minutes, ideally. So John Tilden, Add Some Music was a highlight of the 20th, another favorite. Okay, I know John Tilden's a subscriber. Oh, see, okay, so Stefano, his subscription expired with the last issue. He just renewed it now. Okay. Thank you, Stefano. We appreciate that.
I'm glad that you're
doing
the
another
judge.
We're going to be doing another live Zoom in December, folks. This is your opportunity. If you say, oh, I'm not a subscriber of the publication, or I wonder if my subscription is up, go do it right now. And the next time we do this, you're going to be ready. And I'll make more emphasis of this as we go forward, because the whole point is we're rewarding subscribers of the magazine. That's the point. So John Tilden, I'm going to choose John. Add Some Music was a highlight of the 22. It's a favorite song of mine. Brian says it's a favorite song of his. So John Tilden, congratulations. You're the winner of the second 3 LP set with an autographed 8x10 of Brian Wilson. Now we're going to do 3 2 CD sets, and each one of those is going to come with the autographed Walking Down the Path of Life CD single. So just subscribed. I like Lay Down Burden as it sounds beautiful. In the full live band, it was played off, and this is the version I know the abuse. I love that answer. Okay, so social bootlegging, who are you? No, if you go by social first name, bootlegging second. Jim Murphy, you got to give us. Jim Murphy's probably got all the Beach Boy stuff one could want, but Jim, you got to get in there and say Justin Reiner. All right. Yes, I recognize that name for sure. Okay, Justin, I am choosing you for the first. We give away the 2 LPs already, right? Right?
Yeah, we've done the number 1 and number 2.
Okay, so Justin Reiner is going to be, and he just re-upped his subscription, and I recognize that name. So Justin, congratulations. You're going to get the 2 CD set with an autographed CD single of Walking Down the Path of Life with Love and Mercy. Congratulations. Okay, now it's time for the second 2 CD set that comes with the autograph Walking Down the Path of Life with Love and Mercy. I'm in there, David, and don't worry, baby. That's from Jim Murphy. I like In My Room, but all of Brian's work is my favorite. Okay, Don Shepard, are you? Let me look up your name real quick to see if you're in here. I recognize the name. I'm not seeing Don Shepard in our database. So Don, are you a current subscriber of the publication? I'm looking here. Brian Carr, are you a current subscriber? Let me do a quick search on you. I have Nolan Carr. Is that the same? Brian Carr, Salem, Massachusetts. Okay. Let me see. I just saw something from Brian Carr. He's been very active in this chat. California Girls, always the first song of my early concert. It brings me excited anticipation. Brian Carr, congratulations. You're the second winner of the 2 CD set with a CD single autographed by Brian. Let me write your name down here. And so we're down to our final 2 CD set.
Woohoo!
Go.
It's tough to make these choices.
It is tough to make these choices. I'm kind of scrolling back up through to see. So folks, if you've already answered and you've given us a song title, write it in again if we haven't chosen your name. And just write it in real quick again, because we're down to one more per. You know what? Who's been active in here? And I love him. He's a great buddy. Jim Murphy, author of Becoming the Beach Boys. He's a subscriber, and he's written somewhere. He's written a number of answers and responses in here. So I think Jim Murphy will be our final winner for the night.
Nice. Congratulations, Jim.
Congratulations, Jim. So, folks, again, this is it for the night. I hope everybody has the opportunity to enjoy time with their family tomorrow. And I'm hoping that everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving. I want to, again, thank our guest, Mark Lynette, Darian Sahanaja, Probin Gregory, and Paul Von Mertens for taking their time out of their busy schedules to come and join us today for this live chat. And Carl, especially my gratitude to you for your time this
Pleasure.
afternoon.
It was a treat for me to, especially the band members. I'm just in such awe of their ability and their dedication to Brian that, it's a treat for me to speak to them anytime I get a chance.
Yeah. And Taylor Rutkun, I didn't forget about you. I'll send you something special. Don't you worry. Okay. All my best, Carl. And
All
folks,
right.
we're going to be doing this again soon. So
I can't wait.
all right. Take care.